What's up, everyone, and welcome to the LCS Championship, delivered by Grubhub here at the incredible NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. I am so glad to be joined once again by these four incredibly talented analysts. Handsome.
Thank you.
Also handsome. Handsome as well.
Nice.
And you're doing all right down
I'm
there.
like, what have you started? As soon as you started, like, as I'm like, okay.
Who's going to get the burn? Who's going to get the burn? Of course it's Jad. He's at the end.
Yeah.
How's everyone doing today? Championship Sunday.
Let's go.
Actually, I would wonder about you guys. How are you guys doing today?
All right. All right.
I'm really enjoying the venue dash, but
Let's
I
go.
came in and I was looking around.
What were you looking around at?
I just couldn't see where are the banners hiding.
Oh,
for
don't.
The
Oh,
all
no.
All right. calm down.
don't be
the
picking
Patriots,
fights.
When you go to Foxborough, there's just
my
so many
God.
banners up there.
Okay.
I just couldn't find any.
Boo this man.
I won't be spending the rest of my night with Mark Z
Disgusting.
out on the town. Let's take a look at the bracket here in the postseason for the LCS. Remind ourselves how we got to this final best of 5. We do sport the 3rd and the 4th seeds in 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses in our championship matchup. But of course, we cannot forget that 100 Thieves squad is here to defend their title.
Clutch factor, man. 100 Thieves, the second half of the split, played extremely well, won a lot of close games, able to make it to the winner's bracket final. Then EG making an eerily similar run so far to what G2 was able to do in the LEC. It's not 3-0s all the way, but back-to-back 3-0s to get to the final is pretty inspiring.
Especially with that context of the regular season for Evil Geniuses, right? The fact that they had to go to the tiebreaker, that they could have easily actually started in the lower bracket. Crazy to think about that, but no. They evolved. The rumors of them being the Scrim gods turned into reality.
True.
Boom.
It was true.
You know how I can tell we have thousands more people in here today than yesterday?
Oh
What?
my
Oh,
God.
no.
Where's your ice
Come
pack?
Is anybody else getting
Yeah.
warm?
Feels great.
I feel like I'm getting a little warm.
No, you're
for
not.
in between games, just so I don't get cold.
I love it. All
You know
right.
the solution to that?
What is the solution to that?
Stripping.
Oh,
Continue
no,
on.
not going to happen. Not going to happen. We're here to celebrate not just the 2 teams stepping onto the stage today, but the entire spring split of the LCS. And so I did want to take a quick moment to kind of, stroll down memory lane, talk about some favorite moments from the split. So, Mark, I'm going to turn to you first. What do you got for us?
So for me, I'm going all the way back to the Ivern mid, and I think a lot of here's the thing. Hear me out. A lot of
It's a
people
big
look at
Favorite
this
moment.
and they think about what they missed out on in the future. But I look back and I say, be happy it happened at all. Cherish the moments you had. Don't dwell on the ones you didn't get. I think this was still such an exciting time in the LCS, and I had a lot of fun watching games like this and just seeing the shenanigans that were happening.
I definitely enjoyed the fact that they was all in on what are incredibly psychopathic players in Berserker and Blabber, and they just saw that as a go signal, right? The shielding compositions that they had, the Sona that we also saw from Winsome in the bottom lane as well. So, they're not exciting. So I actually don't think that's a good favorite moment. I'll already be the judge of that one.
All right,
This
you
is
go
the
check
contest
Reddit
now?
threads and you
Wait,
tell
is
me
this-
it wasn't
is this a
exciting.
competition
and its
now?
favorite moment. My favorite moment could be.
Raz just turned into a
He did. So, Emily, you're up next. What
Oh,
do you
no.
got? You got a one-up Mark here.
All right, so my favorite moment is kind of narrative, but it's Ablaze Olive getting the Ryze triple kill and beating Bjergsen because he talked so much about how much it meant to him to be facing Bjergsen, how he studied under Bjergsen, how much he respects him as a player, and for him to be popping off in this game. So obviously Golden Guardians were not expected to win this game at all against Team Liquid. And then for him to have this moment against his former mentor was just so cool.
Breaking ankles.
Very dope.
Just hearing some of the reactions to the crowd the moment that Ryze
ooh.
flag
Yeah,
hit,
right.
you're like, okay, you know what? Jogging my memories now.
Yeah, that was a sweet triple kill, a very solid game out of the entirety of Golden Guardians, but Blaze Olive specifically against his former mentor. Jat, you're up next. Raz gets to go last.
Yeah, I'm
like
not
this.
saying the Danny Pentakill because we submitted these beforehand. The Danny Pentakill is one of
We
the most
all would have
miraculous
chosen
moments
that.
ever.
Every single one of us would have chosen that.
Mine is a statistical anomaly. The LCS record, tactical, 70% of TSM's damage in this game against Immortals. No one had ever done a higher percentage of their team's damage in a game. The Lulu top hyper carry by Tactical to give them their first win of the year.
How on brand is it that Jat's favorite moment is a Jat stat? Is that not
And it's
crazy?
a
I thought you were gonna say.
Too.
I thought you were gonna say it's a TSM thing. It's a tactical thing.
There's so many.
Okay.
But it's
You said
stat.
you coach tactical
Yeah.
statistics.
Yeah, there's a lot you can cherry pick from there. All right, Raz.
So mine,
You made this a competition, sir.
and
This is the greatest thing.
I
So
you
think-
better serve
I
up
believe I represent
a
the people
delicacy.
here. I think I represent the people here in saying that my favorite moment was that 11K gold comeback from 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians, where you started to count them out. It was looking pretty disgusting at this point in the game. Golden Guardians had their number, and people at this time of the split were questioning 100 Thieves and how good. Remember, the reigning champions struggling versus this team that a lot of people thought at the beginning of the split were 10th place, you know, not going to be able to make it playoffs. They were already wrong about that. And they were also wrong about this kind of moment. And so I think, what do you guys think about that one? No one?
No one, Raz.
That's disgusting.
No one
look, I represent some of the people.
You turned it into a competition and then you lost it.
I represent some of the people.
One thing I do like about your play, though, is that it's the beginning of 100 Thieves' run.
Yes.
Right? So everyone remembers that game, and I think it's unfortunate almost because then they kept being like, I don't know about this team. I don't know about this team. Like, that game stuck in my mind, too. But that was like kind of the beginning of their run through the last part of the split and then through playoffs.
6-5 going into that game. Very much a middling team, but it would kickstart the back half of their split and kind of the resurgence of our defending champions. Another way I'd like to wrap up the spring split is by taking a look at our Samsung SSD Fast 5s. We've been doing that all split long, but this time around, we're going to take those top numbers in every single spot.
And these are for single games. So the closer one is the one that jumps out to me as being almost a full minute faster than the closest in Pride Stalker. He absolutely shot to level 6 in that game.
I think the thing that stands out to me is the Biofrost, and I bet it's from one of those like 2v2 bot lanes where they just set up with Caitlyn Lux and River kept going down. Because he has the fastest by, Yeah,
the 18-minute, 6-second, 10K gold by Danny is also cracked.
Yeah.
That is so much gold by 18 minutes, and it's you even see similar things that they still do where they're trying to give him as many solo turrets as possible, and that was a game where they probably got like 4.
And that's something we're going to be talking about for a long time, not just in this grand final, also next split, because it's something that's been consistent for what is a young and growing career for him. So, it's only...
What you got in your hands?
How the hell did you get your hand on that?
It's very heavy.
Is that your trophy for best
this
moment?
Is like,
I think
it's like 20
your best
pounds.
moment was the best moment?
FTX Most Improved Player Award.
This is the FTX Most
Wait,
Improved
it is
Player
surprisingly
Award.
heavy.
Yeah, it's well made.
A quick
It's also the size
reminder
of my
that the
torso.
last person to receive this was Fudge.
Yep.
But we have to talk about potential prospects for this year's Most Improved Player, FTX's Most Improved Player. Anybody got a candidate they want to throw out there? Raz,
Say that again?
put the trophy down.
It's a year-long award, so we're just
in the midst
way
of it.
ahead of it. But
Yeah.
I mean, based on the expectations that players might have had of Danny last year, like, oh yeah, he's this good rookie who maybe would be able to pop off. He's like very close to a bona fide star now, so he's on my radar for possibly winning this award later.
I think the other thing about Danny that you can say is, while I wouldn't say his laning is the best,
What did that say?
he's definitely...
Closer without the C.
Oh, no.
You hate to see it.
He's improved so much in laning as well with Vulcan that they can leave him alone in lane and it's not a problem.
Yeah, another person to shout out is also Ssumday. If you're taking a look at what happened last year, the fact that they were putting him on Ornn duty, and I mean,
He's
Careful.
back there.
look,
I was going to say,
it's
careful.
not
We're
out
about
of
to see
necessity.
5 games of Ornn.
it's not out of necessity. The man could play carries too, and while the rest of the team was starting to struggle, except for closer, it was Ssumday was the rock of the team, and so makes a lot of sense. I think he's in the running.
Okay, fair enough. As Jat mentioned, this is a year-long award, so we're not giving it out just yet. Just wanted to touch base with kind of the trajectories of a number of individuals. From here, let's focus back in on finals weekend. But of course, to do that, we have to talk about the series that we all witnessed yesterday.
What a series.
Oh my goodness, Jat.
This play was just the most miraculous thing I think I've ever seen in LCS. A Baron steal into a pentakill 2v5.
I mean, I think this is officially called the dream for the play because everyone is talking about how this is what you are in bed thinking of at night, like the most ridiculous scenario where you steal a Baron and get a basically 1v5 pentakill.
Yeah.
That kickstarted the series for EG, and they never really slowed down.
Especially since the start of those games were rough for Evil Geniuses. Danny getting killed early on, but it's about them being able to basically claw themselves back, never give up in those moments, take fights because they're the team that likes to walk that tightrope.
TL had leads in all 3 of these games. I mean, even this fight you're seeing as the turning point, there was still a goal.
Yeah, there it is.
I like that.
That's
That's
beautiful, the
a sick
pentakill prize.
Nice.
Well done.
I like
That's
the
a-
Boji kind of look to it,
Yeah.
too.
Yes, it is.
Might be that's the new
ranking
mon-
of kings
Holy, someone give that man an award.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good call.
I do want to dive into the Baron steal a little bit, though.
Okay.
Because it was the most miraculous moment. So if you were on Twitter or on Reddit, you're going to see what happened with the Baron. And it's this very little-known mechanic. We have a few pictures of, like, why Santorin missed Smite. Look at the Baron health, 895. So at this point, his brain says press Smite. But it then heals when the minute ticks over to 29. So therefore, the Smite leaves it at 155 as the rocket is on the way, and boom, Baron steal. So a lot of people are asking, why the hell does Baron heal every minute?
Yeah.
I don't have a good answer for that.
Okay. I thought you would.
But it is a part of the game. And this actually made me think of a really salty memory I have of the Raiders playing the Patriots and something called the tuck rule. I realize I'm old because this happened in 2001.
Yeah.
But there's going to be people who understand this. So, 2001 playoffs, Patriots are playing the Raiders. This was a very early Tom Brady before he won a Super Bowl, who's now the GOAT of NFL quarterbacks. And late in the game, minute 30 left, he pump fakes and touches the ball like this, gets sacked, fumbles, recovered by the Raiders, game over, right?
You'd think.
Wrong. What the tuck rule is if you were throwing the ball until the ball is completely tucked away, it still would be considered a forward pass. Basically, no one knew this except Bill Belichick and the referees at the time.
Yeah.
And then it's not a fumble. They get a second chance. They kick a field goal. They go to overtime. They eventually win the Super Bowl, and boom, Tom Brady. You can be salty about it in the moment, like people are salty about the Baron healing, but it's also about what you do with that opportunity.
Yeah.
And it does matter. It was a miraculous moment. It was a rule of the game, and I have to see now if EG can continue to take that momentum. They took the momentum through the whole series, but if that is like the beginning of Danny being the god of NA80 carries, that'll be something.
I mean, what plays nice with that analogy, too, is it was not in the Super Bowl that happened. They then won the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so
that's
Danny
true.
can take this momentum, like you're saying, transport it into the finals, and just keep popping off, and people will remember.
All right, I like that extra little piece to it there, Mark. Thanks for adding that one on. All right, well, while we're in the great state of Texas, we wanted to debut an equally great brand new game that we have dubbed Yi or Ha. So we have get your thing.
Okay,
What inspired this?
It just
It sounds eerily familiar.
This is the Did I take yours?
You took mine.
This is the. No, I didn't.
Looks like this.
Yours is right here, Mark. My goodness.
Yeah.
What do I do with you guys? Okay,
This font looks
is the
familiar.
brainchild of a lot of people sitting in a room for a very, very, very long time. But basically, the rules are pretty simple, okay? We're going to show two slides. Essentially, two options. They're going to appear in front of you, and you have to choose either Yi or Ha.
Okay.
Does that make sense to people?
Simple.
Okay.
Okay, I know it's a little more complex than you might think.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. Yi or Ha? What's our first option?
Oh!
Which winner has a sweeter narrative playoff, or payoff rather? Is it the NA underdogs claiming a title in EG, or is it the new gods creating their legacy? Yi or Ha?
So Yi is the
Yi is
pointing
the one
that it points
Yi,
to.
okay.
Yeah,
There
I'm
we
for
go.
sure going Yi just for the photo
This
shot.
Always Yi.
this isn't an argument. We
Boom.
just saw the most miraculous moment in
Yeah.
NA history. Also, they have an 18-year-old and a 17-year-old NA talent in an import-dominated region. That is the
Yeah.
storyline.
And they've never won a title. I mean, I get
Yeah.
the whole defending thing from 100 Thieves, but
Right.
it feels like a bigger payoff for EG fans if you get your first one.
Okay, all right, that was
That's easy.
softball,
Yeah,
first
wow.
one.
Yeah.
Hit
I
us
think
with the
Vulcan-
second slide.
Vulcan certainly has a perfect picture for that one. He looks pissed off.
Yeah,
All right,
wow.
let's see what we got next here. It's a pick between Texas. Oh, that's no, that's dangerous. See, I knew it was going to get tougher. Pick between Texas barbecue and Korean barbecue. Is it going to be a Yi or a Ha, my friends?
Look, guys. Look, guys.
Oh no!
I'm a fan of
I know.
KBB2.
I'm actually okay.
Look,
yeah,
calm down.
Okay.
Wow,
I'm not
everyone?
worried
Wow.
about this. I'm a proud fan of KBB2.
Yeah, same here.
We're all gonna get
We've
oh
been
my
set up.
goodness.
This was
I'm
a
so
setup.
worried.
In my defense, never had Texas barbecue.
What?
Never had it. Never had it. Never had it.
Yeah. Yes.
I like
Yes.
This makes it an easier decision
Yes.
for me.
All weekend, Raz has been like, I've never been.
I just saw-
Raz,
I just saw one of the fans-
and he doesn't even.
He just got up and just like,
That might be the most deserved boo I've ever
Yeah.
heard
Look,
in my
I
life.
heard they close up at like 3 p.m. Guys, that's dinner food.
What are you talking about? Tigress and I went and got barbecue at 8 p.m. last night.
Wow.
They
And you
invited
didn't
you.
invite me.
I did
I
invite
did
you.
invite you. Thank you, Emily, for defending me. I invited the whole team.
I think we have bigger issues than we can solve.
Both
with
are
this.
great.
Yeah, no,
So-
goodness.
Clearly, the desk is falling apart. We're frayed.
Yeah.
Okay, slide number 3. Maybe this can repair our friendship. Slide side number 3. What do you got for us? Who would win in a standoff? Is it Danny or FBI?
Oh.
Ooh, FBI open up. Or is it Danny? They have both had incredible outplays as AD carries. I'm thinking that Aphelios mid lane play by FBI and then the Tristana play that Danny's talked about before.
Wait.
I'm hearing
Danny chant.
What do you guys think?
He's got the crowd.
He does kind of have
It sounds
the crowd.
like Danny. You know what? It has to
After
be.
yesterday, how do you not have the crowd?
Yeah, all right. I'm with you on the Danny call.
So 2 things in FBI's favor. One, if you ever watch his POV, the amount of spam he has on his keyboard is just absolutely like seizure warning when you watch his stream.
You're right. He's one of those like hit tab for no reason
It's
all the
also
time.
like why we rarely would cut to his pro view when we'd have pro view because it'd just be like.
Yeah.
Danny takes some time to ramp up.
That's the other way. Yeah. I was going to go the early
That's
game.
not how standoffs work, man.
True.
No, you can't jump the gun though either.
Yeah,
Because
the FBI does all the time.
Right.
So,
well, I guess you do win if you jump the gun, right? Because the other guy's been shot. So there's that. Okay. That was a fun new game that we thought up just before this event.
nice.
Very
All right.
new.
Thank
like,
you for
nothing I know.
the FBI is the player, Mark. Obviously.
Right, of course.
Oh, Lordy.
No political.
We're
I
going to
think
move.
the lesson
We're going to
for the
move on.
day-
We're going to move on.
The lesson for the day is before I go back to LA, I need to have some good Texas Korean barbecue.
No.
No, Raz, that was not the
I think that's
That was not the takeaway,
All right.
Raz. It was not
Okay.
the takeaway.
All right, I feel
All
like
right,
that
we're
is.
going to turn our attention to the matchup at hand. We've got our defending champions, and they've had plenty to say in their last match against Team Liquid in qualifying here. Let's take a look.
Yeah, they're cleaning our trophy. Look at that. I can't. It reflects the light into my eyes. They're making it nice and shiny for us.
Back time.
Watching here.
Here's Tabat.
Yeah, I'm running.
Aatrox on flash.
Yeah, I'm on Aatrox. I'm on Aatrox.
I have good. I have a
I'm
good one
down,
here.
down. Yeah.
Going. Nice, nice.
Go Raka.
No, you watch Vex. Watch Sari.
Got the Raka.
Yeah, alone. He's alone. He's alone.
Push mid.
Nice shot. Aphelios is flash.
Has the flash.
Okay, nice.
Hey, go with me, go with me, go with me. Follow him.
Okay, yeah.
Following. Vex on in, Vex.
Vex.
GA on the field, or fuck with Trundle.
Yeah, I'm going Vex. They're all dead. We end.
Hey, quiet.
Yeah.
Penta.
No flash. Nice.
Is that a pincer? Good fight setup, guys. Another quadra? Hans, you gotta get better KS, man.
guys.
Bro, you're so good.
Let's go.
You gotta KS.
Let's go, guys.
I want to press P here. Look. I'm watching. I want to do it.
Nice, bot. Nice.
Easy. Yo, Jay is dying.
I'm fine. I'm joining. Keep back. I'm coming back.
Slowly. Look. Nice.
Okay.
Careful here. Look here. Give me the ball.
Yep.
Look, Zeri. Easy.
Nice.
And this game, we are online, baby.
Yeah.
We are online, okay? Reverse with
other
this
games.
shit. It's gonna be the best feeling in your life.
I feel side.
Can we look here?
Yeah, I can look.
No Gale Force?
Keep throwing just
You look on, maybe?
The backline is very low, okay? Focus.
Nice, Tabat.
Yeah,
I can go.
I can root both. Let's
Okay.
Chill is. We are reverse sweeping this shit.
Yeah, I can look behind. I'm going behind.
Okay.
Try to buy time. Kill front.
No flashes on their front. It's good.
It's okay. Look for the reset.
We win, guys.
Chen stunned.
Nice.
Nice, we win this.
Can you keep going?
Go.
It's cross corky.
Can you end?
We can end.
And this game! I think look to backdoor, Felix.
Yeah, I need to go to the base.
I can cancel their base.
Yeah.
But Shen is looking to...
They step, there's a liquor. They're hitting now.
Yeah, if
Can you guys cancel him?
Yeah, I can cancel. They step.
I'm gonna ult to
You
the
have to
base.
do it right now.
No, he's trying. Fight is good. They're trying to end. They're ending.
I'm going. I'm tipping.
Oh, shit.
I can't.
At the end of the game.
He's going with a package.
10 seconds.
Look at Bayern. Only call coming with package.
Yeah, we win, guys.
We won.
Abbedagge absolutely yeets his headphones and another area code.
I'm pretty sure that monitor got replaced.
Equipment is done.
I know people point this out, but the fact that they're so calm until the Nexus goes down, then they're just like.
Gotta make sure, right? Abba must be paying a boatload of fines, guys. I'm just saying. This entire crew.
Nate Shot, remember Nate Shot tweeted. He
Thank
said
you,
he-
Nate
he's
Shot.
got him covered.
Yeah.
He's
I
got him
appreciate
covered.
you. You're out there
Exactly.
somewhere.
Will
You know,
he
you
cover
gotta love
my
it.
fine if I drop an F-bomb?
No.
Drop one and find out.
I was
going to say drop one and find out. I would pay money to see Emily dropping a bomb out there. What a way for that series to end, though, as well, right? I think that is kind of what we need to talk about as we talk about 100 Thieves making it back to defend their title.
Yeah, especially the way it happened, because we were talking and praising up Ssumday and the historic split that he's had for himself, and then in this series was just straight up dominant in the matchup. It feels so refreshing. I know talking about it earlier, saying that, oh yeah, he's not off of Ornn duty. No, maybe he's on it a little while longer.
Yeah, and I think this was a microcosm for the 100 Thieves split as a whole. The series started a little slow despite Closer and Ssumday playing well, and then the rest of the team rallied to pick up around them, and they reverse swept Team Liquid. And so I think they keep that momentum now into the actual finals weekend where they don't have a slow start in the series.
There you have it. Let's talk EG now. As well as 100 Thieves, we did some bingo for each of these teams yesterday. Did we keep the same bingo card?
Yeah, so we still have the EG bingo
EG?
card.
What I'm going to do is cross out the ones from, so the yesterday is in black. I'm going to cross out today's in blue
Nice.
to distinguish them.
Okay, makes
And
sense,
that's
makes sense.
So
Snazzy one for 100 Thieves.
There
That
you
was
go.
contributed by everyone.
I like it. So for those of you who were paying attention yesterday, we have these bingo cards. We threw them out on social media as well so that you can play along. We went through a lot of the EG ones yesterday, so let's talk about some of your favorites here on 100 Thieves, Mark.
Free square.
Your
Free
favorite
square is the Ornn.
Free square.
Is the Ornn pick.
Yeah.
I do love the opposite corners. Abbedagge
Yeah, the duo- so
throws a
every-
game or trolls a game and wins a game.
Every
You never
single
know.
bingo card has had duality of someone
Exactly.
or something.
But the reason why I bring that up is because that, in essence, was also kind of one of the big narratives for 100 Thieves from regular season to the postseason, right? There was kind of this conversation about, hey, all-pro team, he's the one guy on the roster who didn't make that cut. But then he goes into the postseason, and all of a sudden he's starting to look like he might be, the best or one of the best mid laners.
I personally think he's still showing a lot of inconsistency. I mean,
Okay.
the reverse sweep had to start from them losing 2 games, and he was getting clobbered in those 2 games.
All right, well, and that inconsistency is going to be key when you're going up against a player like jojopyun, and that's where we transition back over to this EG team and the roster building philosophy that they brought into not just this year, but the year prior, right? In bringing in Danny, a young gun, you've got some veterans behind them. You add to that lineup Jojo in doubling down on the philosophy, and it has netted them big wins.
Yeah, and I mean, it's insane. The fact that they had so much confidence in their structure, from the academy side to the amateur side, having Danny leapfrog from amateur to the LCS and just be so damn confident in his own gameplay. And it must be coming in from the coaching structure and everything that comes around it, because especially this split, when you bring in Jojo, and you have a lot of options out there, right? You have Jizuke, who you just had on the team, to Jensen, who's just sitting out there chilling. And the fact that they had so much confidence to build him up, the payoff is here today.
And by contrast, going up against them, we have a 100 Thieves roster that's been building since the Golden Guardians days when they were scouted. And so while it's not like the same NA talent scouting, it is really cool how this core has gone all the way from when they did end up with Golden Guardians. This is when huhi moves up. He had role swapped from mid to support. Closer was already on the team. They picked him up from Royal Youth going into the 2020 split. This is through them. Then the 100 Thieves picks up that core. Ssumday is there. And then Abbedagge was like the missing piece, right? That was then added in 2021 summer. They also brought in Reaper. They rounded out their coaching staff. I remember talking to Closer right before the split started, and he was like, no, we're good. Like, we've been doing great in scrims. The new coaching staff is great. Reaper is great. Like, I get along so well with Abbedagge. I feel so good about this team. And then for them to have inconsistencies throughout the split to then win a title was just great to see this roster core evolve over time.
Yeah, especially those tweaks that you were talking about. The fact that they brought in Reaper and Abbedagge, who had worked previously with Closer in the past. So they already had history and they knew that duo would work.
And I just think the slow climb for them, having nice playoffs in 2020 summer, but never really getting over that hump to make it into a finals weekend or something. And then with all those extra pieces getting it done, it was a growth for FBI and Closer and all the other Golden Guardians guys.
We just saw the players stepping onto the stage, getting themselves ready for it all to break down here in the LCS finals, defending that title. That's, I think, the next piece for me, is how the pressure changes, how the expectation changes when you're the ones who already have the trophy.
Yeah, and they definitely seem to be carrying that confidence with them even when they were struggling, this doesn't seem like the team that turns on each other. So they do have a pretty good, I mean, we know their core has been together for going on 3 years now, but especially the core from last split. Back-to-back titles with no roster changes are fairly rare.
Yeah, and it's incredible the confidence that they had this roster coming into this one. And for me, it's just about that confidence that they showcase on socials, that they showcase on stage through their interviews. I just remembering right now that interview with Closer and Abbedagge on stage. Respectfully, they think they could take this.
I think it's also just like the bonds that were forged in the earlier days in Golden Guardians is why they're not one of these rosters that hasn't changed, because they understand, hey, we've been with these guys for so long. Like you said on social media, defending each other when one of them's getting flamed, Closer will come back up huhi. Like they're clearly more than just like 5 guys, some front office threw together to play.
And they've called them that out themselves, right? When they're like, you know, FBI came out and said, I've been really struggling. I feel like our bot lane's been really struggling, but topside Ssumday has been killing it. And, you know, he's this person we can rely on. I feel like when one of them feels like they're not playing well, they can rely on their teammates, which is really cool. And I think it's also why you see them ramping up, as Abbedagge said himself, at the right time.
And they are so good at being able to just be open and honest about their failings. Not only just to the crowd, when they're having their interviews talking about, I know specifically FBI and huhi have done this repeatedly and talked about, hey, we're not happy with our own level of play. And you saw this in an interview with Nick in InVen Global, where he actually had an interview with Abbedagge, and he was talking about the inconsistency that he had during the regular season, and just specifically talking about when there's pressure for me to step up, that is, that's when I show up. That's how it's always been in my career.
Yeah, that's the piece for me, right? That's the piece that speaks to the postseason performance he's already shown us.
Yes.
And what he'll have to do today to make sure that they retain that title.
Exactly, and so he may have not gotten that All-Pro, but that's left people sleeping on his level of play.
Look,
he's a player that got there before, he can get there again.
I'll trade All-Pro for the trophy itself, but Jojo
doesn't stop,
as we know, is never at a loss for words here. And in the matchup today, he's walking in quite confident.
I love how many iterations of Abbedagge's name there is out there. FLICKR. So it's now reminding me a bit about craps and claps. Let's make that a thing.
For who?
He has to change his name to like random capitals so we can just.
True.
Like,
I like that.
Now, Jat, you already kind of mentioned it, that to a degree, the EG run through the bracket is eerily similar to G2, not quite as impressive in terms of the shutouts all the way, but they got knocked down in the first round and had to play as many series as you could possibly have to play to make it back.
Yeah, you can see how much of a role they've kind of been able to get on and how much confidence they're taking into this matchup with the trash talk. And I know specifically, like, at least for Team Liquid back in 2021, we liked it that we went through the lower bracket when we actually arrived in the finals because we felt comfortable with the stage.
The other thing, too, is the insane amount of games they played. They've played 15 through playoffs so far. They're guaranteed at least 3 more today. That means that by the time this is done, Evil Geniuses will have played at least as many games as they played in the regular season, which gives you time on stage to figure out what's working, what's not working, and that's something that only the lower bracket can provide.
And as we look at plays from every single series they won in order to get to this final, I think you can see that. Like, EG's strength, that we will reiterate throughout this entire desk, is their ability to play as a team. So when they do set up these plays, even if they make a mistake, they're moving as a team and they're communicating really well.
Yeah, and I would say the beauty of them is just how smart they are, the players themselves and the coaching staff. So when it comes to the level 1s,
Flowers
it's
for
Evil
president.
Geniuses. Okay.
All right.
Getting too ahead of ourselves. What's up,
I was going to say, you don't even know his platform yet other than Buff Skarner.
That's all people need, honestly.
Yeah, maybe you don't need more, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, smart players, smart teams. The fact that they're mid-game, it feels like they're constantly evolving and thinking about, okay, do we need this dragon? No, once again, we're just taking turret plates. That's been their philosophy, for better or for worse.
Sometimes it's good. I actually, I'll say, I always appreciate when teams do like intelligently trade neutrals for something else, as Danny said previously, gold on their carries. I think some of their dragon contests still need work, especially going up against 100 Thieves.
I think that's the interesting thing. It was in the TL series and it was in the C9 series that EG had some struggles around late game dragons, but they're so good in the other areas that it hasn't mattered so far. It's one of the biggest things to keep your eye on in this series is how does 100 Thieves punish them? Are they able to just stack dragons and then the souls will help get them over the line?
Yeah.
Or are they going to stop them at the other points when they're moving around the map for heralds and other turrets?
And I think that's the point of improvement, because people, especially 100 Thieves that has been chilling in their hotel rooms, watching the games, and seeing the fact that when they are intentionally trying to set up for the objectives, it hasn't been working for evil geniuses. But the fact that they are thinking about those a lot of the time, so they're like, okay, we don't need to go for the 8-minute herald if we are just Aphelios straight up chalk-rumming the bottom to turret. So I think that's something that has been great about their play, and I want to see that today in their games.
You said that 100 Thieves has just been chilling in their hotel rooms, Raz. I got bad news for you.
Uh-oh.
I know that they went and got Texas barbecue, so somehow they found time to go get Texas
So
barbecue.
they're feeling
when
lethargic,
you, sir,
tired.
could not manage.
Okay.
All right. So,
I don't want to fill my belly up before the game.
Maybe you get a recommendation from them, and you can hit that up tonight.
Everyone at Raz on Twitter with
Please do.
Texas.
If every single person in
don't
this
do that.
arena could flood him
Don't do that.
with
Go
a
for
Texas barbecue recommendation, I would love it. All right, we're going to step away for a quick break. But yesterday, Verizon and Freak used 5G to take viewers around the arena and give them an exclusive look at the Fan Fest here in Houston. Take a look.
What's up, fellow gamers? Freak here, and we are at FanFest here at the Spring Finals in Houston. Thank you, Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband, for helping to put this stream on in the first place. It's all cell phone, baby. Let's talk about the fact that we are at the Verizon booth itself. They got a big ass turret. Second one over there. It's off camera, don't worry about it. They got 2 turrets, though, all right? You got games going on here as well. They got computers. Pretty much every station here has computers in some form. There's games to play. I think it's a cool setup overall. So let's talk about what's going on else here at FanFest. Well, yes, the 4-time LCS champions, Team Liquid. Today, they are going for number 5. Obviously, you have to win today and tomorrow, but they're going on for that one as well. But sometimes you just gotta touch grass, okay? And I'm just suddenly much better at League because of this. Once again, much love and thank you to Ryze for putting this on, 5G Ultra Wideband powering this stream. Again, FanFest is awesome. If you didn't make it in spring, please come for summer. Please come for next year. It is a lot of fun to be here, and I hope to see you there next time.
I'm good. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the LCS Championship, delivered by Grubhub, coming to you from the beautiful town of Houston here in Texas. We're going to dive straight in as we move closer and closer to this best of 5 between 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses by taking a close look at a few players. And we would be remiss to not start in the top lane, I think, because, Jack, of the history that exists between these two players in Ssumday and Impact.
They have both been in this league actually for a very long time.
Very long time.
Yeah, and we have some clips from back when Impact was on Cloud9 and Ssumday was on Dignitas. They just came into the LCS. They played against each other so many times. They even played against each other for Impact's first final. And then for Ssumday's first final, he was up against Impact's former team. But they've just been going back and forth. And for a lot of their careers, did have different styles, right? Ssumday was always trying to find ways to solo carry, even though he found a lot of success on tanks. Whereas Impact was always just like the godlike team fighter who could always make plays happen.
I'm going to sneak even longer history in here because they did face each other in Korea once in 2014, where they played both sides of the Renekton Shen matchup, and Ssumday won because that was KT Arrow's, run. So I got to sneak in the KT Rolster fan.
Of course.
Yeah, and you can see here, Impact has had the upper hand. Oftentimes, he is actually on the better team. What's interesting is Ssumday has generally won lane against Impact, but then hasn't been able to transition that to victory.
And in terms of recent history, both have been pivotal in their team's run to the finals. Ssumday has been an absolute stud for them throughout the entire year. And Impact on things like the Aatrox was slamming Bwipo in that matchup. Like, he was so angry, I felt like, how he was playing. He was diving into 4 people, and I'm excited to see them go at each other.
Especially since they've developed a lot throughout their long careers.
Yeah.
A lot of the things, looking at that stat for Impact, he has been the weak side for Team Liquid in a lot of their championship victories. Whereas right now, especially if you're looking at yesterday's games where he was just going wild, as you mentioned, on the Aatrox, and Ssumday this year has had that renaissance, being the second team All-Pro, it's going to be an incredible clash today.
And if you haven't, check out Impact's Twitter. A cool little story from him where he talked about actually being nervous for this finals. This is a guy who's won a world championship. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
But he talks about how much or how meaningful it is and how winning yesterday, put a big shift in his brain. And he's got the nerves, but he's excited. And every time he steps onto a final stage, it ups and amps his passion for the game.
I mean, Impact won a world championship in 2013. Right?
Yep.
So I think for so much of his career, he has had a level of self-confidence which can project his arrogance.
Right.
And there were even times I'd heard stories about him previously on TL, or when I was coaching him on TL, where like he was just the type of guy who's like, oh yeah, I'm always playing well. Like, I don't have down days. But like, it's so obvious that Impact has seasons where he's down, and then he's always clutch for playoffs. And I honestly, when I read those tweets, I think like, okay, he's just continuing to mature. Because he's being more self-reflective, he's being more open, and it was just really cool for me to see.
I think the other thing about it for the Ssumday side is there was the pressure that the 6-man roster was put on him. When you talk about players evolving over the course of their careers, it felt like there was a period of time where it was like, is Tenacity going to come in, start getting some games? And
that was an announcement at the start of the split.
And it felt like a fire under his ass. There is a real thing in sports, the contract year, where you're going to go get yours a little bit more because you feel that pressure. And I think regardless of what happened in that 6-man roster situation, it has led potentially to one of Ssumday's best splits in North America.
And remember that the meta changes a lot. So this team that's remained the same just got back from Worlds where top lane carries was the meta. And so for him, a lot of the times when you go through that experience, you're like, oh, I just need to be flexible. My team needs to be able to, we need to learn how to play around me on carries and things like that. So we saw his Jace in this play. He's played Jace in the past.
Tryndamere, man.
His Tryndamere has been iconic. I remember hearing mic checks of them telling him to play safe, and then he goes out and gets a few more kills. He's like, oh, actually, no, do your thing. So I think that level of confidence that he now has, that his team can rally around him on carries, puts him in a perfect position for today's best of 5.
Very curious to see what the matchups look like up there in the top lane. But from the top lane, where we talk about 2 of our longer standing members in the league scene, let alone the LCS, we jump to the mid lane, where we once again have to talk about the young gun for EG, jojopyun. Second ever native NA mid to make finals in a rookie split.
Yeah, the previous one was none other than High. If you go all the way back to the second split of the LCS, it has not happened since then that this young player has made it. And that C9 roster
did go on. He was playing with the co-streamers, too. Amazing.
Yeah, all those co-streamers were so good at the game back in the day.
A few of them are at FanFest. Wow.
I think the big other thing that I want to say is, like, I want to reiterate how mixed the reaction to JoJo getting a starting spot was, right? Because of the other talent available that had already been LCS proven elsewhere in other regions as well. When JoJo's announcement came through, everyone was like, some people were like, yes, any talent, but a lot of it was like, I don't know about that. Or even a positive spin was like, well, they're taking a big risk. And I'm so glad that JoJo has proven people wrong.
I think there is the team angle about building a roster and taking that risk, but also for the fan angle is what I want to acknowledge. We talk so much about the youth, but like why it's important is like, I was looking at the fans, we saw the shots, there's kids here. There's like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, and you can look at jojopyun and be like, that guy's doing it right now. The last time was 10 years ago, but this is not something that's impossible. And I think he can be this young superstar that people aspire to be. And I want to stress how important that is in our ecosystem, just the state of it right now, to have young guns that people are investing in and are carrying them all the way up to the championship.
Especially because, like, I feel like a lot of young players, they don't necessarily go to League of Legends, right?
Yeah.
They go to other games. JoJo himself started as a Fortnite pro, which everyone likes to meme on now, but like the fact that he's here playing League of Legends.
Oh, look who's in the building.
It's fortunate.
Look who's in the building.
Yeah,
Muscles.
Yep.
He'll be doing the opening ceremony in about 18
Wow.
minutes. I want to continue on this point,
Okay.
though, of like, okay, the last time something like this happened was back in 2013 with High. There's a lot of other things this weekend that feel reminiscent of the old days to me. Even the fact that just like the way JoJo and Danny have trash talked.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
gives them a level of relatability and a level of fire and spice that we haven't had in the LCS for several years. Because I think there's so many players that have their first trash talk experience, get beaten down, and then never want to do it again. But it feels fresh. Some of it could be we spent 2.5 years indoors, and then now we're in a stadium. But there's other elements that are lining up that is making this weekend very special.
Absolutely. You already mentioned it, but let's take a look at it. JoJo and Danny were not shy in sharing their thoughts on today's matchup following their series yesterday. Check it out.
The reigning champions await you in tomorrow's matchup, 100 Thieves. Danny, go first. How do you think that's going to go?
I really think we are going to 3-0 them because I think they're not that good. But to be humble, respectfully, it could be 3-0, 3-1.
3-1.
Towards
Maybe
us.
3-1.
Yeah.
Is that just to be humble? The
Just to
3-1?
be humble.
Just to be humble.
Okay. So you're locking into that prediction as well then, 3-1?
If we're humble, yeah, 3-1.
Okay. I feel like the undertone is the 3-0 though.
Also, to add on my note, I thought TL was a better team than 100 Thieves, and the fact that we swept them, I mean, it could end up poorly for them.
I don't think anyone expected Danny to be the one sending that message.
Right.
It was so reminiscent of Abbedagge just popping off and Closer standing there and being like, woo.
Beating TL gives you some type of trash talking fire. That's what
I
we've
think
learned.
also having a crowd react. If you're talking smack to like a webcam and there's like no reaction, it's like, was that funny or not? I don't know. But then as people react more and more, you're like, yeah, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to talk more. And TL sucked. That crushed them.
And honestly, there's a big push right now to just let players talk their shit. Just to let them actually say how they feel. Because that's what fandom is all about. They want the players and teams that they support to speak their minds. I know we all kind of started from like 2013, 2012, when people were streaming personalities and were able to say that stuff when they were on streams. And then there's always kind of been that fear of like, oh, what if I don't perform and I'm talking, right? Then you're going to get people on your DMs and all that. But that's kind of been pushed to the side, and people love that type of behavior. We want to see more of it.
Yeah, I only want people in Raz's DMs if they're giving him Texas barbecue
Oh my God,
recommendations.
stop it.
That's it.
man.
We're already getting enough of
That's
that.
all.
they're already
That's all
hitting
I
it
want.
up.
Otherwise,
I've got
stay
a
away.
list of every restaurant in Texas at this point.
Keep it up.
I got it. Yeah, I love it. All right, we got 15 minutes to go. I want to keep working through a couple other individuals. As we talk about JoJo, I want to talk about Inspired next to him because once again, Emily, as he was brought into the league, obviously one of the first things we were happy to tell everyone is this is a former LEC MVP. Will he be able to do that kind of stuff, create that kind of magic here in the LCS?
Yes.
Boom.
We saw like different sides of Inspired throughout this entire playoffs, right? Like he communicates with his lanes really well. We saw the Diana carry where I'm sitting next to Golden Glue yesterday, and as soon as that draft came through, he's like, oh, this game is over. Like they had that Diana Yasuo response, so his communication with JoJo's been really good. And when you have a rookie player like JoJo, to have someone experienced, like he's still really young, right? But experienced and inspired, willing to be, in my opinion, more flexible than he looked when he was in the LEC, communicating so well, that's such a massive thing for EG.
And the level of confidence that he has in his carries, the fact that what we didn't see was that Trundle game where he was able to just be like, all right, my job, put down some fantastic pillars because I know that my carries are going to be able to clean up. They're flexible, they are incredibly talented, and something at the very beginning of the split that they were bad at is working in tandem with JoJo.
Yep.
And it gotten so much better now that has become their strength, and they're willing to play picks like Diana and Yasuo.
It's funny because he wasn't even on the All-Pro Valet, I'm pretty sure, for the jungle position. He was largely snubbed because the regular season they were so inconsistent. EG had never beaten a top 3 team above them in the standings, and they never put together a win record more than 2 in a row. And it's hard to stick in people's minds of being a dominant jungler, but thank God in playoffs, it's a totally different story. He's become unlocked.
Yeah, and I think part of that is how, when compared to traditional sports, the regular season is very short. This was 8 weeks of time that the regular season showed for them, where they ended up in a tie for 4th, 3-way tie, right? But you would hear all these murmurs that, yeah, they're either the best or the second best team in scrims, pretty consistently. And when they have a 17-year-old and an 18-year-old, and even there's just other players that are scrim or stage players, especially when you're integrating a new 5-man unit. But I really feel like
well done.
In the 18 regular season games, compared to the 15 or 16 playoff games we've seen, it has been 2 different versions of EG.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we didn't see them lose their identity, because I guess the criticism during the regular season was that they were just taking every fight, even if they had a gold lead.
Yeah.
They would be able to just squander it because of a fight that was just ill-advised. But they're still confident in taking those fights. Sure, they've kind of taken it a little bit back, taken a step back from that one, but they've been smarter with it while still going towards what JoJo is great at, and also what Inspired is great at. It reminds me of that Peter Dunn interview that he had on Hotline League, right? Where he was able to say, yeah, I mean, Inspired is really confident in what he wants to play and that he will be able to perform on it, so they let him go.
I feel like I know where the answers for everyone are going to be on this next one because of our earlier Yi or Ha slide when it came to the standoff between Danny and FBI. But these are 2 standout ADCs who have absolutely been dominating throughout the playoffs, and I'm kind of curious how you all actually see the matchup playing out here on Summoner's Rift.
I'll start by just saying, look, my opinion's starting to change. The flip-flop is happening here.
Look at some of the stats first.
Yeah, let's take a look at it.
Just because these stand out in a miraculous way. I think the most underappreciated thing about Danny is how many kills he actually accrues. He smashed everyone in the regular season, and his kills have gone way up since then.
Yeah, it's so easy when every team fights a pentakill. Every single time.
Just
5
5 at a
kills.
time.
Yeah, that's why his ratio is so
classic.
high. One thing that's really interesting to me about these stats is that in playoffs only, FBI is actually the highest damage percent, just within these playoffs at 33.1%. And I think, like, so because this is regular season and mixed, I want to point out that Danny is still getting gold funneled towards him, but because of the games we've seen multiple people carry on EG, and I think it actually speaks to their strengths.
Well, I also just like this because they're 2 of the younger superstars in the AD carry position in the league right now. It's like flashbacks of old, double of sneaky rivalry matchups that you kind of had. And it's both of them having different approaches to the game. FBI more lane dominant, like you're saying. Danny more focused on getting gold funneled into him to carry. Like, they approach the game differently, but both of them are absolute monsters.
Yeah, and speaking to the flip-flop that I was talking about is that I was favoring FBI coming into this playoffs, but man, Danny has been incredible so far this run. I mean, everyone can speak to the praises. Even at FanFest, talking to the fans, they were like, yeah, that was an insane moment. That is giving him a lot of fans just off that alone, how memorable it was, while FBI, as a player, actually was starting to struggle in those first 2 games in the full 5-game series versus Team Liquid.
Danny has had some absolutely insane moments in playoffs. You go back to last year where he had the Trist unofficial penta, and you have what he did yesterday. But also, Danny has had a lot of ups and downs. I think, like, Danny's peaks are so incredibly high, but those 2 early games yesterday, right? They got killed 2v2 in lane very early on. They got zoned off their turret in game 2, and he was completely starved out of the early game, but then he's able to come back and pop off. It's like the rest of his offensive line is doing an amazing job blocking for him, and then he still has to make the run.
Are you angling for a football career? What's going on?
I'm just saying.
What's going on, Chad?
Stadium.
Danny gets more resources than any other AD carry. He has the best offensive line, so he's going to have good payoffs. I think FBI is probably a slightly more complete player, but right now I'd say Danny's peaks are higher, which makes it really exciting.
It's also super interesting because the way they play lane is so incredibly different, right? Like, I've talked about how Danny's laning has improved, but you're still, the absolute apex of Danny is going to be when he gets to those team fights, when he's able to pop off. That's not to say that FBI isn't an incredible team fighter, but one thing that I will always like about 100 Thieves is that they play these 2v2 bot lanes really well with FBI and huhi.
I hear that, but you mentioned apex of Danny, and I feel like we saw the apex of Danny just yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
With that pentakill and the Baron steal. Yes, I know we've watched it a couple times, but we're going to watch it a million more times because it's a ton of fun. We're also going to see some of the beautiful reactions from those around the community. Let's take a look.
And Danny needs to get a penta and then get the Baron here. True.
Danny might try some shit here.
What?
Oh my god! So king, look at them!
Literally a penta.
Wow, Danny!
Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me!
What was that? Danny with the most incredible play I have seen! Stolen Baron, 2v5 penta!
We're all Kobe's hands.
So cool.
I know. I wish they'd been able to get us too because we all jumped up, started jumping around. You both yeeted your pens.
My
into the
pen went.
audience.
Yeah. Thank God we found them, especially yours. Yours is a more expensive pen.
What an incredible play that was. I think LS's face, though, might be the best representation of just the sheer shock of the moment.
The dream. Yeah,
that
it's
is.
just like, am I watching a real thing right now?
Yeah. It absolutely did not feel real. But then you turn around and you're like, no, we're all experiencing this together.
Yeah,
so it was real. It was real. It happened. And they won the game off of that.
And it starts by, I would say, last year, where we talked about the throne for the top and best AD carry position is right for the pickings. It's open. And for the finals to be FBI and Danny, and you already saw the excellent plays throughout the split with Berserker, Hansama, and all that. These AD carries are gunning for it, and it feels like just off of yesterday's performance, Danny feels confident.
And that is definitely a small microcosm, right, of this best of 5, and I love that you call it out. But again, everyone here is fighting for the title. And there's one person that we have yet to talk about in this matchup that I feel like represents the titanic task that EG has ahead of them, Mark, and that's Closer in the jungle. Crawl Closer, baby.
It's the elephant in the room. It's Closer. He has been the final boss, it feels like, of the LCS last year during their run to grab the title. Closer absolutely popped off. It's been the same thing this time around. His destruction of Cloud9 in the early game is what really put people's eyes on him, where he just picked Lee Sin, spam gank. In both playoff runs, he's been absolutely instrumental.
Yeah, and pull your attention to the stats. He had a historic run in last year's summer playoffs. But also, he doesn't do it through just farming. He's very active in the early game, and he's actually turned that up a little bit. If you see, he has actually the worst CSD of any jungler in playoffs of the 6, but he's still making a huge amount of things happen. And if the reason his gold is 3rd is there's guys like Inspired and Santorin that are ahead of him. If he dunks on this series, he could still end first in KD8 gold and kills plus assists of 14. So much of their success in the playoffs has been Closer literally taking his game to a completely different level. And if he can do that again, 100 Thieves will be champions again.
Well, and even during the season, we were talking about obviously Ssumday, right? But also Closer as a potential, honestly, a potential MVP candidate, like a kind of dark horse. Because again, when 100 Thieves were struggling, it was Closer who was keeping them together, Closer who was still playing really well alongside Ssumday in that top lane that they could just rely on to be not only stable, but excellent.
Yeah, and the thread kind of strings from last year as well, because those games weren't all clean. There were games in which they were behind, but the confidence that he exudes, telling his team, hey, shut up so I can focus. Yes. And then he creates incredible Lee Sin ward hop kicks to bring the game back into their favor. That's what's impressive about him, is that it does not matter what kind of stage he's on. whether he's in his bedroom or if he's in the NRJ Stadium, that he can make it happen.
I think that's the biggest thing. With crowds coming back in, we've seen people live up to the moment or crumble. Closer's not the type to crumble. And when we're talking about pop-off moments from Danny, Closer has a ton in his back pocket. You just know there's going to be moments in this series where Closer demands to have his attention on him.
Well, the overall decibel level here in the arena is slowly rising. I see the wave beginning, and that means we are very near time to get this series started. So we've got one thing left to do, and that's throw our predictions out there into the world. It was a rough day for most of my analysts yesterday, aside from Mark. Well done, sir. But Raz, I'm going to start with you. Let's go down the line, my friend. Who hoists the trophy here in Houston after over 2 years of being outside of arenas and being away from live audiences? Who's going to live up to the moment?
You're putting pressure on me.
Who's going to take it?
Stop it.
100 Thieves or EG?
I was in my hotel room pondering because the producers,
back and forth,
the gracious producers gave us the option to change our votes.
Yeah, they did.
Sure.
They were very kind to us.
Yes, I did not.
You did not?
I chose not to. And so I stick by 100 Thieves, 3-1.
3-1 vote for the defending champions in 100 Thieves. Mark, you had the faith in Evil Geniuses yesterday. They showed up and showed out in 3-0 fashion. Can they do it again today?
Oh, God. So that series, what I predicted EG to win, but I said 3-2.
Right.
I did not expect to see that level out of them. That was another gear that I didn't think they were going to have, and that made me have to revisit what I predicted, because I was also 100 Thieves, but I stayed strong.
Oh!
3-2.
Oh!
But I'm not very confident, to be honest.
Okay.
After watching EG.
The crowds are turning on us.
I know. Oh, no.
They're becoming a little rabid.
Yeah.
So I'm super happy the crowd is turning on us, honestly.
Yeah?
Because, like,
Because where did you go?
They're going to be disappointed in me.
Oh, no!
But I'll say I'm so happy as someone who's just watched the NA talent discussion at every single level of toxicity and vitriol, to have so many people behind, like, the EG carries is just actually, like, honestly, I effing love it. Like, thank you for that. That being said,
we were very close.
I'm also along with Mark. I caught myself. 3-2, 100.
Another 3-2 prediction for 100 Thieves.
Jad, you have a responsibility, Jad.
Yeah, I'm changing, guys.
I sent a message already. I said,
are you joking? Because listen, I've seen this so many times when people are like, it's a close series, but I'm going to go this way. They're wrong.
So
like,
I pre-sent this message.
I've been wrong every prediction, I feel.
So this graphic is going to come up 100 Thieves unless they change it, but I'm going to switch to EG right now.
Okay.
I'm switching.
So Jad's going with the crowd.
I did not expect this. 100 Thieves has been talked about as one of the biggest brands as they come back over and over. And
there it is.
And listen, you could make this argument about, hey, 100 Thieves is a dragon control team, and EG gives away dragons. But there is an element of what EG did yesterday living up to the pressure. And there is a way they can jump out to an early lead here as 100 Thieves adapts to the environment. And when Jojo and Danny and the LEC MVP and the 2013 world champion and Vulcan, who also has a bunch of accolades that don't immediately come to my mind, lock in.
Love it.
They can take it.
That's such a great speech for someone who came up with it 10 seconds ago.
Well done, Jad.
I'm a flip-flopper.
You're incredibly good at pandering to the crowd.
I think it's actually important, though, because as you say, this is very much anyone's series, and sometimes it can look more lopsided than it is when it comes to our predictions. But we're not the only ones who have thoughts.
Okay.
Some other people out there have thoughts.
Okay.
First, let's take a look at the rest of the broadcast team and where they're all throwing their weight when it comes to the predictions.
Wow!
And still heavily.
But remember, mine is switched to EG.
Remember, Jabs has switched.
Yeah.
But it is still heavily into the 100 Thieves favor. So this is funny because I also, coming off the series yesterday, I was like, I'm going to flip-flop over to EG. Oh, my God, they were so impressive. And then the further we got away from this series, the more I started to walk my own thoughts back.
Yeah.
Because I saw that game one, it was done by a Penta and a Baron steal. That was TL's game. Game 3 as well winnable. So I didn't really see it as dominant the further I got away from the series as it originally felt. And that's where I think 100 Thieves is going to step up.
More balanced out there.
They're a little bit more
What I
balanced.
appreciate about your reasoning is that it was actually the most analytical of all of us.
Well, somebody's got to lock down the analysis on the desk, my friend.
Oh, I see the clock.
50 seconds to go. For each of you, or anybody who has got a final thought, where is it made or broken, or what are you thinking as we load onto this stage here, Jad?
It's such a meaningful moment, I think so, right now in LCS history. This is the first time we haven't had a team like Cloud9 or TSM this deep, or even Team Liquid this deep into the tournament. EG would be the 5th champion we've ever had, or we have 100 Thieves repeating with the same roster. Either one is a strong start to a new important era for the LCS.
Especially when 100 Thieves won it the last time. There were no fans to be cheering their name. This could be the difference, and it all comes down to this.
It's been over 2 years since we've got to hear the roar of a crowd against a best-of-5 finals in the LCS. It's 100 Thieves looking to build a dynasty. It's EG looking to take their first title. Let's get down the stage for our opening ceremony presented by MasterCard.
Man, it's been far too long since we've been able to make this. Those moments burned into our minds. Those hype moments made in front of the biggest crowds, with players' hearts pounding on the biggest stage. You know, the moments that can be described by one phrase.
Silence! Expectations be damned!
One play!
Absolute perfection from Sting! How is he still?
One sound! No. Stop. Not that. This!
Are you kidding me? TSM got the clean ace!
The unleashing of fans brings the best to their best.
Hearing the roar when there's a big fight gives you so much more excitement to play the game.
To play in front of that big of a crowd is probably going to be the biggest moment of my life.
Everything is bigger. Every pick, every ban, every alpha induced moment. This right here is when we find out who is truly built different.
Closer grabs another. Abbedagge drops. Cersei tries to get away, but FBI has arrived. This man is 200 Thieves are going to be happy with that one.
To be the champ, you have to beat the champ. And no one has been able to slow them down. No one can touch the crawl of the jungle.
Closer ain't done yet.
Especially when he's got the Karma King backing him up in mid.
And it's 3 for 2 for 100 Thieves.
The bot gap, unreal. An Azael support god and the AD carry from a land down under make these kids look like amateurs.
They just elite Santori.
And of course, some daddy knows best.
Ssumday's here in the middle of everybody. And these will just not be stopped.
You're defending LCS champions, 100 Thieves!
Stars in the sky tonight. Jump, the stun is on, they're gonna find him, he's gonna zone in for a second, the front line goes inspired, over a quadra kill for Danny, welcome to the LCS!
What do you get when you combine the next legendary AD carry and North America's hottest mid lane prospect?
Evil Genius is winning!
A title contender! These two are supported by the winningest top laner in LCS history. The LEC MVP turned LCS giant.
Goes inspired.
And a support mastermind who's not afraid to live evil. They're all proof that it's so good to be bad. Evil geniuses!
We have a bit of a problem! What it does do! We is RB back at it again with the 2022 Spring Finals! 100 Thieves! EG! This is what it's all about! Let's go! Who's here for 100 Thieves? Now let me hear who's here for evil geniuses? And who's here for a 5-game banger? In the jungle, we have Closer versus Inspire. In the top lane, we have Ssumday and Impact. In support, we have huhi versus Vulcan. In the mid lane, Abbedagge and jojopyun. And finally, in the bot lane, we have FBI versus Danny. And the substitutes for 100 Thieves, we have Tenacity and Bucio. Now, give it up one more time for 100 Thieves and Evil Geniuses!
We're not like considered that much of a top tier team, but I want to get to that level. I want to prove to the fans that we're here to win.
EG will head to their first ever LCS final. Yes. But now they go against the defending champion in the finals.
I hope we play TL. I just think it's gonna be a lot bigger. I think EG will be an easier matchup for us.
I thought TL was a better team than 100 Thieves, and the fact that we swept them, it could end up poorly for them.
The King of Pentacles! Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me!
They are really good individually, but I don't think they really have a team identity. Their early game is dangerous, but I do think we have one of the best early games in the league.
I really think we are gonna 3-0 them, because I think they're not that good, but to be humble, respectfully, it could be 3-0, 3-1.
Danny is about to rule the LCS!
Yeah, EG is a cocky team too, you know, but I'm not scared.
Definitely means a lot to bring an org their first title. EG, they haven't won any titles yet, but I want to change that. It's time for us to be a dark horse. People still might think our first one might be like a lucky one or like a fluke. Us getting the second one will just prove everyone wrong.
I know what I'm capable of. I know what my team is capable of. It's just destined to happen. I'm gonna accomplish this and I'll win back-to-back.
Hello, finals! Y'all are looking fantastic today.
Man, you know what? They are looking so good. We got to capture this moment. This is incredible to be here, back with all of you. Let's take a selfie, Houston.
Time,
Get in here, boys.
Smoothing!
Oh my goodness, we're so close. This is the most epic caster setup we've ever had. We can hear both teams cheering, getting ready for this final setup. My goodness, that opening was hype.
It was incredible. T1 crushed it, man. I think we're going to have an amazing series here today. EG, you can tell, have been gaining a lot of fans over this weekend. Danny even getting a chant.
How can you not gain fans after what we saw here in this very arena yesterday? Both of the teams coming out here onto the stage today with so much swagger, so much bravado. They're ready to go.
And how can you not love the story of this team? The young talent coming from Evil Geniuses that they've fostered all the way through the amateur system, and really showcasing it at the highest level here on the biggest stage, going against the perfect matchup, the defending LCS champions.
And it really does feel like the dawn of a new era for LCS. Two teams that entered with franchising, taking down some of the biggest names in gaming. These legacy orgs that have dominated the league for so long, neither of them are in the finals. It's EG, it's 100 Thieves, trying to start a legacy of their own.
Yeah, we've never had a finals without somebody named TSM, C9, or TL. And now here we are today, brand new colors flying in the arena, brand new teams, brand new players. Either 100 Thieves gets to run it back to back and shut all the remaining doubters up, or Evil Geniuses gets to build their own empire. We just can't lose. Oh, I can't wait to get into draft for game number 1, boys. I expect everybody to be just coming out guns blazing for this one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, for me, how 100 Thieves plays in game number 1 right off the bat. At EG, they got accustomed to the stage yesterday. They got accustomed to the crowd, to the setup. 100 Thieves, this is their first big stage game here in front of a crowd like this, for some of them ever, and for others in quite a while.
Yeah.
So, sometimes you come a little bit slower out of the gate in those kind of situations, and I'm going to be interested to see if EG can maybe take advantage of that, being a little bit more aggressive in game number 1.
The momentum is definitely in their favor.
Yeah.
Back-to-back 3-0s versus two of the best LCS teams in Cloud9 and Team Liquid. Evil Geniuses are very much on a roll right now, coming in very hot. They're definitely going to play with confidence. Sometimes, and with the success that we saw yesterday and those extremely hype moments, you might even have to dial that confidence back a little bit.
EG never does that.
Man, did you see Impact adjusting his glasses out there? He ain't dialing back anything. That had to be one of the coolest intros. And the whole crowd just losing it for Danny. I think they've got all the confidence they need.
I do love that you mentioned Impact, because with all the focus on the younger players on Evil Geniuses, Impact was massive in their series yesterday as well. And a lot of credit does need to be given to the veteran players as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, on both sides, right? Him and Ssumday, some of the longest standing veterans we have playing today. These guys have been around forever. They have done it all. And Impact is the winningest top laner in LCS history. Not to mention he won a world championship before he even came. This guy has an absolutely historic career.
The LCS analyst desk touched on it with Ssumday and Closer, but those two have been so massive for 100 Thieves. Closer, it feels like ever since his playoffs MVP last year, he has continued on that path and only even gotten better. Absolutely outstanding performance from him so far in Spring, and Ssumday has been a monster from the top line. The carry that has emerged for this team, really shoring up some of the weaknesses that you could have seen last year. Now they seem, you know, poised at the top.
Absolutely, and I think it's going to be such a challenge for EG to be able to shut down Closer because, you know, across 2 straight splits now in playoffs, he has been absolutely unstoppable no matter what he is on. This guy has been dominating the competition. Inspired, I think, had a very impressive series yesterday, but he is going to be in for what I believe to be a tougher challenge because no one has been a match for Closer.
Well, here we go. Champ select for the first time here in this series. Let's see how they do it. Lucian, Lee Sin, Ahri, all banned away by EG. Nocturne and that very scary Zeri for Danny, banned out so far from the Thieves, rounding out the first half of the draft with that LeBlanc ban.
All right, so covering a couple of bases here. You know, banning out Danny's Zeri as well as JoJo's LeBlanc, but also throwing a splash here to some of the globals that we saw layered by Evil Geniuses yesterday in their most successful game.
Jinx already getting a cheer, though. Danny, incredible on the pick yesterday.
Insta lock, though.
Wow, yeah. 100 Thieves, very, very quick. Renata, they want some scaling of their own with the Aphelios, perhaps anticipating that EG is going to be looking to play dive. Renata, one of the strongest counter-engaged champions in the game. And can definitely enable these snowbally carries if Aphelios can get ahead to play super aggressive with that W.
Yeah, also one of the most prominent range supports in the game right now. Not very many other ones aside from Lux have been picked. And if you're expecting a Tahm Kench, if you're expecting another melee matchup there, it does give you advantage for the bottom lane to have the double range here and try and play off of what 100 Thieves have found so much success on. Strong bottom lane, focused area team comps.
Well, we know what the bottom lanes are going to be, gentlemen, so let's see how else EG wants to structure this composition. JoJo playing to the crowd a little bit here, hovering some picks that we don't expect to see, but there's that Jarvan that's been so powerful in the jungle meta recently.
Yeah, it's also quite good versus both Aphelios and Renata. Both of them don't have dashes for themselves, so very good at making early plays as well as targeting some of these low mobility carries.
Going to be interested to see if they want to try to, you know, match roles here, if they're going to go jungle or if they're going to allow that to follow through. Will be Trundle, looks like here. So going to be matching jungle. I do think if you're expecting potentially tanks to come through in the second round as well, that can dissuade things like the blind Ornn. Ornn that has been, of course, rising in popularity throughout playoffs, not only here, but in Europe as well.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting early pick here, because if you pick it in the first 3, then you do put that pressure on EG knowing they will have to blind pick their top lane matchup for impact. And if you know already you're picking into a tank shredder, then it takes away from some of the safer options. And so you're left with things like Gnar that wouldn't be so heavily affected by it, but still can be countered.
It's really interesting because, you know, in some ways, if you want to get the Ornn on the side of 100 Thieves, picking the Trundle may actually dissuade EG from picking it and secure it from Ssumday. You know, and Ssumday has been so good on this pick. So I'm curious to see if EG's actually going to ban it out, because I think otherwise, 4th pick, we will see Ssumday just lock Ornn.
And we'll see it in their bans. It's very telling here. If you ban out Gwen, another one of these Conqueror healing matchups for the top side of the map, that is a protection ban for something like an Ornn. They didn't ban out Aatrox, though. And Aatrox is what Impact used to demolish yesterday. So they did not fully protect themselves if they are going to go for the 4-pick Ornn here.
Okay, so Azir, Gwen, Victor, all banned out. One more to go for EG. Will it be the Ornn, or is something else considered more valuable here? The clock hits 0, the Orianna ban instead.
And now we're just finding out, does 100 Thieves want to save 5th pick on red side, you know, for top, or is it going to be mid? TF, if you go TF, it makes me feel like they want to play more a carry style towards top lane. So we'll see if that does actually become the case. Of course, yesterday it was pivotal in all of the games, and it was picked on both sides. And is something that Abbedagge does like to play a lot. 100 Thieves in the past had been such a bot side focused team, but as you were saying, Kobe, you know, Ssumday's kind of rise has allowed them to play more heavily towards top side. So will it be Ssumday on an island, the 100 Thieves of old, making set plays, trying to dive bot, trying to snowball FBI, or are they going to go for a 5th pick carry here? That just remains to be seen because a lot of the safe blinds are those things that can be kind of answered by Trundle.
And JoJo's next most prominent mid lane pick has been the Ryze. You know, LeBlanc is permabanned versus him with the Victor banned out as well. It's instantly into the Ryze, right down his comfort level for these picks for mid lane. There are not a lot of surprises that come out from mid lane from him. It's more about how he plays a lot of the matchups, tries to get aggressive. He also roamed a little bit too heavily in previous matchups, dropping many waves on Ryze to roam to top and
kills,
bottom.
not minions.
So it is going to be interesting to track with a Ryze pick like that.
Okay, but we got Ornn.
How much he does give up for a lot of these roams, because those are always the calculations you have to make.
And now we might just see the Aatrox. I think we're going to get the Aatrox.
Yeah.
There it is. So that's going to get locked in. And it will be interesting to see, are they going to still try to play towards the Ornn or just utilize the Aatrox team, that winning 1v1 to push him in, to kind of unlock closer to get done what he wants to do? Because they can try to have these set plays towards bot, try to get FBI ahead. You know, they have the range support advantage, so that should be a winning 2v2 for 100 Thieves on the bot side. And Danny, while he was incredible in the team fights, did get taken advantage of multiple times in his series yesterday in bot lane.
And one thing I like here for Evil Genius is you guys talked a lot about how it can feel dangerous to draft Ornn into something like a Trundle because he can shred the tanks, sap the stats. EG has a very tanky lineup just in general. Ryze is tanky, Jarvan is tanky, Tahm Kench is tanky. It's not like we only got this one Ornn to frontline. It's a meatball comp here for Evil Genius.
And to me, really, my eyes are drawn towards these mid laners. Mid laners for these comps are so pivotal because both of them are roaming mid laners. So jungle trying to unlock and ward around mid lane, supports getting those roam timers so you can gank for your mid laner, calling the team to push out your wave so that you can get the play started first with Twisted Fate or with Ryze. That is going to be critical for both of these mids.
It absolutely is. You know, whoever gets the push there is going to have first move. That's going to be so important in this game.
Here we go, baby. It's just about time for game number 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses Spring Finals. And you know what? I love the fact that this draft came down to the top laners being left at the end, right? The Aatrox coming out as the pick against the Ornn and how that's going to look. Because you guys are talking about the history of Ssumday and Impact. These guys predate the modern LCS. These guys started their careers back in 2012. Modern LCS was 2013. These are the elder gods of top lane, and that's what the draft is about. I love it.
Yep. I mean, Ssumday got the regular season, or Summit got the regular season MVP, but these two have since been the best top laners in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think it's so impressive to have that longevity. Not that they've just been around for that long, but the fact that they have actually been, you know, at or near the top of their role for so many years requires not only incredible talent, but incredible discipline to stay at that top level.
And Aatrox is one of the oldest counter picks into Ornn, into lots of tanks, because if you're facing a tank, low damage, your healing really takes over. He can push you out with Conqueror, plus is able to get those mini interrupts.
Quick update for everybody out there. Had a bit of a client load issue getting into the game, but they told me it would be resolved pretty quickly, so we should be able to hop into game one here in just a moment. But Isaac, I want to go back to what you said about how these guys have been at the top of the table for so long. They've been relevant for so long. That's impressive in any situation to be that good for so long. But when you think of how much League of Legends itself, the game, has changed and adapted from when it literally was a small indie game to now, the fact that they've kept up with all of that and been good at all of that, amazing.
Spring Finals game number 1 with 2 new franchise organizations, EG and 100 Thieves. None of those old gods are here again, Azael.
And one thing that I immediately noticed, look over here on the left,
Triple
Inspired
Spellbook.
running Spellbook, Impact running Spellbook, JoJo running Spellbook. There are a lot of surprise punches that can come out from this.
Absolutely, and 100 Thieves, 5-man invade here, level 1. Not going to be in any danger of actually getting a death, but at the same time, this means Impact can invade topside now because they had the eyes on that. They can get their own deep wards in. And they do actually ward Raptor Pit, trying to track where Inspired will be. This is very important against the J4 early on because he is one of those big threat early game gankers.
Something I saw very early on in playoffs was the importance of these level 1s. And 100 Thieves, they get deep vision on Raptors, will have a better job tracking Inspired. It's so important when you are tracking a Jarvan, especially because of the options. So many varied routes possible for this champion to try and influence, especially this mid lane that they want to unlock.
And especially when you look at both of these mid laners, Ryze and Twisted Fate are very gankable targets. There are no inbuilt escapes on these other than try to throw a gold card or a rune prison to save yourself, but we're not talking about inbuilt mobility. We are talking about pillars and EQs coming out from the Jarvan on the other side. I expect this to be heavily focused.
Yeah, and JoJo is one of those guys to not play these lanes passive. He wants to get the most possible from it. He's going to play in his opponent's face. So far, EG having the push here with the Jinx, shoving in, and we'll see some good early trades.
And so the information you can gather thus far, 400 Thieves off of their level 1, is that they know that Jarvan is not starting on the bottom side. So you can see FBI and huhi, they're playing aggressively now, trying to abuse their double range matchup here, trading there with Vulcan pretty heavily. However, they know that Jarvan is going to be en route down to bottom side and are going to have to play accordingly.
Trundle heading down as well, potentially there to cover, has actually gone red Raptors. He's going Grom, so he's going to get a fast 3 with red buff and could potentially come to look. But Danny has eyes on that. He's going to be warding out the river in case of any early shenanigans. Santorin, of course, known for those early ganking Trundle plays, and Closer can emulate that too.
Down here, you're going to see FBI taking a lot of damage, flash out fast, but now the counterattack comes through, and it's Danny left with 100 HP, and it's first blood to the 100 Thieves.
FBI bends the bullet, tags him with the sniper Q around the minion, and Danny goes down.
That's why you insta-lock the Aphelios Renata for 100 Thieves. FBI and huhi, they're back on the top. First blood, bottom lane for 100 Thieves.
Man, huhi played that so well, landing the handshake, smacking them together, then flashing forward for the ignite after the cleanse had already come down. Closer will cover them on the push, so Vulcan can't actually hold the wave. Danny will arrive to actually collect the farm, but he didn't have a buy. Your buy is a refillable and a pink ward, and FBI is going to have something much better.
It's especially a huge start here for 100 Thieves because people were questioning if 100 Thieves would come out a little slower, not working their way through the lower bracket. But this instantly gets you up to speed. FBI flashes the W from Vulcan, so only huhi gets hit, and then on the exchange going out. Beautiful shot there between the minions off of huhi's setup there, and then huhi knows as soon as that sniper Q lands, he can flash forward. The damage will be there, gets the ignite down, they get the kill. Only thing you can take away from it is that, of course, then the damage in the end goes over from huhi, and he's the one who gets the actual lion's share of the first blood money.
Hey, if that's your biggest problem, you got some first world problems. 100 Thieves starting off good here at 4 minutes, but now we've already got the play and both sides are getting involved. Abbedagge is going to be taken low, but the counterattack comes out and it's JoJo killed first. 100 Thieves are up 2-0.
This Renata from huhi, again, the counter engage from Renata on display. Every chance he gets, bottom lane 2v2, boom, first blood, and then counter gank in mid lane. Both supports are thinking the same thing. Both supports are on that window, that timer for mid, and they collide. Again, 100 Thieves coming out on top.
And huhi's playing it out so well. I mean, as soon as he puts the W on Abbedagge, you can no longer try to burst this guy down. He's just going to come right back up, but he lands the handshake once more, smacking him together for the stun. This Renata so effective in these early minutes already.
We already need to praise 100 Thieves for what they were able to learn after just watching Evil Geniuses and preparing a plan for what they expect to see here. Lots of hard engage, lots of melee champions, and they've been able to so far execute on their game plan. 5 minutes in, 1.3 thousand FTX gold advantage is nothing to scoff at.
100 Thieves are loving this early game so far. They are responding well to that EG aggro, that early aggressive type of laning these guys like to play. 100 Thieves seem to have it figured out. Closer's hanging around here in the bottom side now. Flies over, should have just barely been seen by the edge of that ward, so he won't get the drop on him.
a flying Trundle's been sighted, my friend. Flying Trundle through the brush. Well done there for EG bottom lane. But of course, they also, off of that play, do have the flash advantages. So 100 Thieves know and Closer knows he's going to have to do some defensive work around bottom side. That's why he goes for the pass around bottom. He knows that his bottom lane, as they're pushing out, will be a bit vulnerable, even though they got the early kills.
EG has done a good job, though, with this warding in the river. You know, multiple wards, they're tracking Closer, moving back and forth. But with the push, they're just going to start up Dragon here. And I don't think EG will look to contest. They do have mid shove and J4 is in the area, so we'll see if they want to move over and try to get something done. They have to know that this is going on right now, and 4 members strong moving that way.
They've got mid push.
100 Thieves still on the Drake, still looking to commit, but over the wall, Inspired's ready to go. It will be secured by Closer and 100 Thieves, but FBI's already going to be taken very low, and he won't be able to be saved. Closer now about to drop. Evil Geniuses punish the play as the Ornn horn sounds and Abbedagge flashes away, but you can't say the same for huhi. That's a 3-kill play for EG.
In true Danny fashion, are you kidding me? He gives up first blood, but then collects the kills on Jinx.
Getting both those kills and impact. Early TP to bot side. There's no way 100 Thieves expected that. This is not Unleashed TP. It's 6 minutes in. He PPs defensively to their tower and is still able to get involved.
I will say that then during this replay, we expect Aatrox to get a turret play on top side and push in those minions since the teleport was used. But first things first, Smite secure on the Dragon. Closer does get it. But EG with such a good flank around the back, Azael.
And FBI didn't have sums from the previous play, so he gets taken out almost immediately, and then Impact arrives on the teleport, forces the flash from Abbedagge, CC's up huhi, and you can tell they're giving it to Danny. They know this is the guy you need to get fed. He just got paid. He's now ahead of FBI here. And that spells scary, scary things for 100 Thieves, who you know were watching this guy cleaning up every single game yesterday.
And in this graph, I love the fact that we see similar values between mid laners, AD carries. A lot of damage came out from Inspired in that one as well. The Jarvan being a big part of being able to take those health bars low, make that fight go their way. That gold lead, Kobe, that you mentioned, man, 5 minutes, 1,500, that feels pretty good. Well, feels pretty bad when it disappears like a magic trick.
And especially the thing is where exactly the gold goes, because it was basically funneled onto Danny. He is at the top of the FX gold graph on your left in the screen here, and we just saw yesterday the things that this kid can do on this champion.
FTX total gold on the left side of your screen right now. It's Danny topping the charts, exactly how EG wants it to be on this hyper carry marksman in bottom lane.
With Abbedagge missing from mid, though, they have no more wards in the river, so EG has to retreat because they don't know if a 4-man dive is coming. They're going to have to wait until they see TF and try to reestablish vision in that bot side river with Inspired to protect their 2v2. Because for now, they're just giving up camps, they're giving up farm, they're gonna wait for Inspired to actually move down here to protect any potential dive.
Yeah, what they have to get to is a next safety threshold, which is Vulcan's level 6 for Tahm Kench to be able to protect against the second Twisted Fate ultimate. Abbedagge's cooldown now comes up, but jojopyun's Realm Warp will also shortly follow that cooldown, so he should be looking at getting mid-push first. What we'll see is a lot of investment of resources of extra champions roaming towards mid lane to help push these mid laners out first so that you can get the initiative, you can get the first move in creating the play for your team.
And it'll be interesting to see if EG want to go for this Herald here early, because they've committed a lot of wards towards that top side. They had 3 control wards on that top side river, 1 just getting cleared out, I believe, there by Ssumday. But a lot of vision up there. Both teams seem like they want to be heading over. 100 Thieves have the faster reset, though, and they're going to be out on the map starting this up already. But it looks like EG sending their bot lane there, too.
And you can see it from the support timers there. huhi now in mid lane trying to get level 6. He absorbs level 6 experience off of that wave. He's going to have the advantage here.
Okay, 100 Thieves have it started up. The eyeball is ready to be hit, but they're not hitting it just yet. Okay, that one's gonna get proc now. Eyeball will not show again. It's low enough HP. That's not gonna pop up. Super Mega Death Rocket thrown out into the mix, and now the Twisted Fate ulti's gonna be coming in. Jojo taking the Realm Warp, looking to find his way into the other side, but the burst comes out. He's gonna be taken low, but he's not gone yet. Closer flashes away. Ssumday kills Jojo. 100 Thieves have found the mid laner and haven't lost a man just yet, but FBI finally falls to Impact. The Impact's dead now with a double kill back over to Ssumday. Inspired jumps in and Closer's under pressure. 100 Thieves getting themselves away.
Got no
Danny
flash.
still looking to make the moves. The rockets onto Abbedagge. They just want to give the kill over to Danny. Oh, just playing with them.
Like shooting fish in a barrel there for Danny. He outranges the gold card for so long. weaving in these rockets. EG again funneling more money into their pentakill AD carry.
And they're going to get the push on top here. They're going to be at least able to pick up all of this wave before they reset. Danny getting very, very strong. Will for sure have his Mythic on base. And you can see pings over onto this dragon. 100 Thieves want to try to reset and go towards this next.
It is very worth mentioning, though, that Aatrox can be a mid-game carry. Ssumday collected 2 kills here. So watch the Aatrox, watch Ssumday from the 100 Thieves side, because they also get 2 extra kills for themselves. The smite goes down, they get the Rift Herald, FBI is able to claim it. The ultimate comes through and they zone him out. And Jojo takes the initiative, goes right in, gets the zone just to buy a little bit of time, but Ssumday immediately flashes him, gets that kill, and chases him down.
And Ssumday flashing forward there actually was so critical because there were so many low health bars on 100 Thieves, and that actually zoned Danny out. It forced the usage of Vulcan's ult defensively there, pushed him back, and does end up saving at least a couple of them as Closer and Huhi are able to get away on really low health bars.
So even though this money for EG goes in the correct place, they get the money onto Danny, 100 Thieves got the majority out of it because they also got Rift Herald. 2-for-2 trade, and Rift Herald is in the hands of FBI, the Aphelios. So bottom lane Rift Herald play can come through, more turret play money for him.
Exactly. Normally you see these heralds in the hands of a jungler. AD carry's not going to be roaming around the map as much. We would expect to see this squad try to play around that. Second Drake of the game now alive, and it's Evil Geniuses starting this one up first.
100 Thieves in the area though. Both teleports are online, but it looks like Impact is the one cheating down. I think 100 Thieves are just going to give this up, try to trade for some gold on the top side with Ssumday having the push. It's worth noting that Trundle is going a less common build. You know, we mostly see Divine Sunder in pro play, but he is going Iceborne here, full on tank, you know, knowing that it's just going to be more about, you know, being that frontliner for the team. You go build tank, you ult the Ornn, and you try to be that true frontline.
And it's trying to peel is what it is, creating those slow feels for FBI. They know FBI is the win condition for 100 Thieves. He is the one that is going to push them across the finish line. He has to peel for FBI. If that Aphelios can stay auto-attacking for 100 Thieves, they can win. Ssumday is going to do his best here towards the mid stages, this fed Aatrox, but they know FBI, he's the DPS for later.
And that's the story for both of the teams with these AD carries, but now they got to be a little bit careful. Vulcan keeping Danny nice and safe there. Yes, the Berserk hits, but when there's nothing for him to go after, it won't lock him down.
Nice attempt, though, from who he uses the handshake, pulls Danny into the tower as the minions are getting cleared out, right into the Berserk. It was good timing, though, from Vulcan. You know, if he's a little bit slow on that, doesn't get the Devourer before it hits him, could have been in trouble. Closer now, wrapping around, looking for the dive.
Closer is hungry for this one, and he's bringing everybody to dinner. Abbedagge shows up for the gold card over the wall, but Impact just swag walks out of it.
Did you see that? The fastest Ornn I've ever seen! Spellbook Ghost, baby, popped up there by Impact, and that is a quick moving Forge God.
Man has his Nikes on, he's out of there, but they are going to lose a lot of plates on top side. The Gore Drinker was already done for Ssumday, and he's getting more and more gold injected. They drop Herald here. It's Danny collecting solo gold on bot side. Will he actually be able to beat this out? I think the charge will go off, and 100 Thieves should get first tower, but that is close.
They got it by just a couple of seconds, and both of these turrets will also critically fall before 14 minutes. Plates are gone as of now, but they got all those plates from the different sides. Impact's trying to go after FBI here. Follow-up coming in from Vulcan, and FBI gets knocked on over.
Catfish delivery service, the knockup from the Ornn straight into Vulcan there, knocking him up, CC chaining him down. I don't think he even realized he was in kill threat there with just these 2 lower damage carries. But they take him down.
Yeah, very good counter there from Evil Geniuses, because recounting, they got the Jinx push on bottom side while Aphelios uses the Rift Herald on top side, and that tower is about to die anyway, so that Rift Herald actually did not get much value.
And Danny got all of the solo gold, so even though 100 Thieves got more gold from the play because they got first tower, it's all concentrated on Danny, which makes it that much more valuable. He actually already hit his second item. We can watch this one more time. Impact setting up with the ulti, Vulcan following through.
Yeah, long range there during the knockup, able to layer the W knockup from Vulcan. There's 0 chance FBI gets out of that one.
Yeah, he spent more time in the air than he did on the ground, and as soon as he came back down, he's right in the dirt. Beautifully coordinated there from EG. And now 15 minutes into the game, plates are gone, laning phase is over. How are we feeling about the game state between these two with only 200 gold separate?
I mean, I just think that the gold is in a better place for EG. I think the fact that Danny is already on 2 items, he's going Kraken, so he's a very high DPS build here. If they can keep him safe and he's free firing, he will shred through the champions that 100 Thieves has.
100 Thieves down just the smallest amount of gold, about a can of minion or so. Both teams also critically on one Drake. Means nobody's got that advantage towards looking for a soul stack or anything in what has become an Infernal Soul game.
And we've got a minute and a half to look forward to that. So what you critically need to do now is utilize the threat of your globals to push out these side waves so you can set up for a better start on that objective. EG are moving as a group to get vision right now, retaken across this river in setup, in preparation for the dragon. 100 Thieves, you see Abbedagge pushing down topside. Twisted Fate ultimate is available for him to get out.
All right, walking over a ward right now. EG is going to start up the second Rift Herald. We'll see if 100 Thieves decides they want to go all in to stop this one. They do have Ssumday on the bottom half of the map, Impact down there as well. Both top laners have unleashed teleports available for this one. That's the difference between this and some previous fights we've seen. Keep your eyes on that, but it doesn't look like the Thieves are willing to contest this one. So that second Herald goes over to EG, eyeball on Inspired.
All right, now 37 seconds left on the transition over to Dragon. Jojo's pushing top, but he does have Unleashed Teleport ready. So Evil Geniuses can make the journey over to this side of the map. And it looks like we're gonna have another big brawl. Again, EG sweeping in, clearing out all of this vision as they move to set up.
100 Thieves. Okay, sweeper from Abbedagge is going to see Vulcan prowling through the jungle there.
He's there too.
Catfish has been caught a little bit. Of course, that's not the target you can engage on, so it's easy enough to walk away.
And they actually commit. Look at where they're sending Danny right now. They're committing Danny to more money. They are actually foregoing the dragon setup.
Yep.
Evil Geniuses once again will make this choice. This has been true so frequently throughout playoffs for the Evil Geniuses. Foregoing early dragons, getting money instead where they need it on their scaling champions, on their carries.
And they're even going to actually escort it in for the tier 2 charge here. You can see Vulcan and Inspired shadowing Danny, allowing him to collect this additional wave, get that charge out. And if 100 Thieves don't commit enough members up here to defend, they can potentially look for the push, but they're going mid.
Alrighty, FBI trying to get himself away. The flash gets him out.
Last time around, FBI did not flash the Ornn ultimate, and he 100% to 0 died for it. So he had that in the back of his mind, and this time around he ends up using Gale Force and Flash to escape it. So hugely high value Ornn ultimate from Impact, and it also allows Danny to take the whole secondary turret on top side. Those things are worth 800 gold now with the increase in local.
And he just got both of those towers. The first one was isolated solo gold, the second one was shared, but Danny's gonna have at least a BF on base, if not BF plus tier 2 boots. He is gonna be very quickly on 3 items.
And that weighs so much more heavily on the state of the game than this Infernal Drake does. Yes, it will go over to the Thieves, but this Jinx is quickly becoming the main character of Game 1.
Okay, boys, I'm hearing a lot of arcane talk right now, but let me remind you of Ssumday's status.
Okay.
Ssumday on 100 Thieves. Best split he has ever had. Hard carry for this team on Aatrox. Huge lead for him through the mid game. We can definitely focus as much as you want on Danny, but if Ssumday gets the flank, Ssumday can wreck house. He is 2-item power spike already on Aatrox, well above the curve of this game. Gore Drinker and Death Dance and Stopwatch. Ssumday can be the hero 400 Thief.
Absolutely, and it's going to really come down to which team can enable those carries best. Can you actually deny vision or find a TP flanking ward for Ssumday, set him up for success, and on the other side, can you actually keep Danny safe and with enough space to fire? Completing the Thornmail here, I think, is actually pretty important for Impact because any CC he applies to Ssumday will put that Grievous Wounds offensively now, with this item, which is so big to actually being able to knock down that Aatrox.
Right, that's one of the big things about Bramble Vest is you don't have the ability to apply the Grievous Wounds proactively. That chain is big. Ssumday's in some trouble. Where is it going to be? He gets away for now. Doesn't even have to use the flash, but the ulti's gone. Evil Geniuses are now going to put some damage into the tier 2 in bottom.
Yeah, they're still rewarded with not only push on bottom, but also mid here. Jojo moving up, so a very well-timed, again, Ornn ultimate from Impact. They saw the Trundle early in draft. They don't care. Shred my armor. Who cares? Trundle doesn't even matter. The Ornn ultimates have gotten so much value for EG.
And I've really liked how Impact has moved around the map. His first TP of the game was to bot lane. I can't even remember the last time I saw that, out of an Ornn. It's almost a default TP back to top, wait for the Unleashed teleport. But he knows it's not about the 1v1. He's not built to actually win in that 1v1. He just needs to get his XP, get a little bit of gold, move around the map, and enable his carries.
Team play, go usher those young kids over the finish line. Go over and support JoJo, support Danny, as so many in the crowd have done.
Grandpa Impact never misses one of his grandson's games. He's always there to support him. He's always ready to go, and he knows that this is Danny World. All they got to do is get him going. That BF sword will be in an Infinity Edge before too much longer.
Exactly what I was looking at. Like, this is a very early 3-item power spike for Jinx. Once you get Infinity Edge, becomes a whole different monster.
And we're all of the same mind, because I'm looking at near an IE. I'm looking at 2.5 minutes here. He should have the IE prior to that next dragon fight, and I think that's where EG are really going to look to challenge around the dragon here, stop the dragon stacking that 100 Thieves has going on. They don't want to allow them to get to soul point and have that as a potential win condition.
And I just want to reiterate again, though, the map movements from this team and moving Impact to zone off 100 Thieves and continually increase this lead, getting objective after objective, you know, forcing out summoner spells and Gale Force cooldown from FBI, and then moving up, being able to get that mid outer tower for themselves. They're not separating to allow for an Aatrox flank, to allow for one of these melee threats to really take over. They are grouping up, they are protecting their carries.
And we've been seeing Anathema's chains become so much more popular. I think it's especially effective in a game like this, where really late game, it's up to FBI to get the damage done. So you have the Anathemas, you strap that onto the Aphelios, you have that additional CC layering onto him. You know, if the Ryze can flash in and get that Rune Prison, or Ornn can land a CC chain, he will be in trouble.
All right, gentlemen, we find ourselves once again 90 seconds away from the next big objective fight, and we find ourselves looking at that Infinity Edge completed versus what appears to be 2 bow and arrows, one a Gale Force and one a Last Whisper. One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, an item and a half ahead right now for Danny.
And what does that do to your game plan for 100 Thieves? They literally have to kill Danny or all is lost. Everybody in the entire game, all 10 players, looking at the positioning of this Jinx and of Vulcan, the Tahm Kench, his biggest safety net.
And that allows people like JoJo to position more aggressively, because if you're drawing them onto you, you're buying time for your carry. You know, we talked about them having triple spellbook. You can have more exhaust to help deal with any potential dive. We see a heal on Inspired. That's going to be valuable because they have no heal from the bot lane. If Impact or JoJo can swap over to exhaust and shut down someone like Ssumday with that exhaust, that is so powerful for the team fight. And the utility of this summoner is really useful.
Plus, it goes back to what I was talking about at the end of the draft. This is Jinx, and count with me, boys. 1, 2, 3, 4 meatballs. It doesn't matter if any of these meatballs die. As long as Jinx is alive, the game is done. They're all happy to throw themselves into the grinder.
And a Fortitude Elixir. Even to further your point, it's tank build Ryze with the tank Elixir. He doesn't even go for the true damage sorcery Elixir. So JoJo is of the same mind. Everybody on this team is aligned. They're going to get this dragon. They've got control of the map. And 100 Thieves would really, really be in error if they went to contest this with no vision.
Yeah, they didn't have this set up. You know, I like the ult from Danny earlier. Actually, just delaying the recall from FBI makes his reset a little bit late there. He does complete his second item, so that is critical. But still, you know, 100 Thieves losing control of the map here. We'll see if they can find some sort of an X-Factor play. I mean, they do have huhi with this ultimate. If they can catch someone critical.
Nope, doesn't happen. JoJo gets caught for just a moment, but the rest of EG falls back in time. They're not in any danger.
You really want to catch the Jinx with that, because Jinx is almost purely auto-attack based, and Renata's ultimate is much more powerful against champions that are not spell-based.
Right.
Because if you can get that Jinx, and she is excited, the auto-attacks can shred through her own team just as easily as they can shred through yours.
Yeah, and we also saw the pitifully slow movement speed of that spell, really reiterating how it is so much better as a counter.
All right, they're ready to go. JoJo's got the Rune Prison on Ssumday, but he's flying away as fast as he can there with the World Ender. That's no Aatrox ultimate here for a short amount of time. EG with control over the top side river. Closer just throwing that control ward in the Baron pit, making sure EG's not getting a little bit too ready to go for the big objective.
This is quite possibly at 24.5 minutes, about to be the most powerful Jinx that I've seen in a very long time, because not only was he funneled, and it's just a 3-kill Jinx, it's not like he got a crazy number of kills, but so much local gold on towers, solo gold on towers, turret plates, and he has an Ornn on his team. So not even in the gold value, Impact now will be able to upgrade for Danny and just further boost the damage of this Jinx.
I mean, this is it's reminiscent of how RNG would play with Uzi, where you're just feeding him any stacked wave. You know, yes, Impact is down 7 DCS, but guess what? Your marksman is ahead 7 DCS, and he scales better with that gold.
You take that trade.
Exactly. You know, so Impact is taking the L, but they're giving it to Danny, you know, which is going to pay off in the long run. He's completing those additional items faster. He's getting more experience. He's getting ahead really in every conceivable way.
And that's what 100 Thieves have to figure out some way to get around, because we're just going to keep going forward with EG playing like this. We're just going to keep going forward with Secret Service detail for the Jinx and everybody making sure he's in the right spot. And after yesterday, boys, I don't think there's any doubt in anyone's mind that this kid can carry it.
A cool thing that has happened because of the run that EG have had throughout playoffs is that nobody gives up on Evil Geniuses when they get behind anymore in the early game. Nobody, everybody shrugs it off. They're like, yeah, I've seen him get first blooded in lane in 3 minutes before. Don't worry about it, you know. And EG,
good Penta Baron angle here, you know.
They still continue, exactly. That's step one in the formula for Baron Pentas.
But on the other side, Ssumday continuing the item progression. You know, he is 2 levels up on Impact, you know, highest level in the game, actually 2 levels ahead of anyone on EG, and does have the GA, so he is going to have that super powerful one fight. It's just going to be the question of when 100 Thieves do pull the trigger.
So what they need to do for 100 Thieves is aggressively push out the side lane so they can Twisted Fate ultimate on somebody. If they do not do that, there's not really going to be a way that they can easily win a 5-on-5. Because of the power of Danny right now, he's actually so well protected in addition to how much damage he can put out, because not only does he have a lot of tanks on his team for the resistances, but they all have CC to be able to peel for him and create space for him. So 100 Thieves need to utilize the map to their advantage.
And we're getting to the point here soon. I'm expecting that next cape in Danny's inventory to turn into an LDR. That means he'll be able to punch through some of this armor. Guardian Angel, Death's Dance, all of this stuff is not going to matter nearly as much. And then I don't understand how they're ever going to be able to get through this in a 5v5. They must take an unfair fight. It has to be in the setup for 100.
Yeah, it has to be some sort of a flank. You know, if you were to win in the 5v5, you know, get a flanking angle here from Ssumday. Abbedagge TP's in on top. You know, you find that sort of a play where you can stun him and burst him down. But Vulcan has to be separated for that to really work, because you have that get out of jail free card. So it's very difficult. But thus far, it's 100 Thieves focusing more now towards that Baron side of the map. They were dominating vision there. You can see EG was a little bit worried about a potential Baron rush. Danny scouted that out with his ult, and then EG move in force to retake vision.
I will say one nice thing for 100 Thieves is that they didn't have to fight, as we see the first Twisted Fate ultimate just for vision. They did not have to fight on that monumental AD carry item difference. And we are quickly approaching the point where FBI will also get his Infinity Edge. So while Danny will still be ahead, the breakpoints in the game, in the itemization, are really what matters. And once FBI gets
looking for JoJo's going.
Oh, Ssumday with the dash over the wall, but now a different fight has already started. Danny grabbing the auto attacks. The range of the rockets has found closer, and the super mega death rocket claims his life.
There's the
impact over on the FBI. He's trying to get away, but he cannot do it. Renata ult is too little, too late, and it's 3 for nothing, EG.
EG get the tier 2. They could go straight to Baron here if they want. They could even probably take both. They're sending Ryze to Dragon. The rest go to Baron here. EG are running away with it now.
They can take whatever they want. They will actually take all of the above. Yes, for them. Ward down on bottom side. JoJo just leaves it controlled by Dragon, goes for the minions. They clean up this Baron. No chance at a steal for 100 Thieves. Ssumday is trying to head off and head to the Dragon, so the one kernel maybe for 100 Thieves, but they also do not have Smite there. Closer is now leaving base.
Looks like, okay, we're going to see JoJo go ahead and head back. Ssumday does not want to risk starting up the Dragon himself. They have out on a backup.
The 100 Thieves have no deep vision, so they don't know that they could try and rush something here. So TP does come in. Closer, you can see him on the map heading over to the Dragon, and both Smites will be here.
One critical thing, no summoners on Danny. This may be the last chance potentially for 100 Thieves to try to take this guy down if you can punish that. Ssumday's looking for a flanking angle and does have his GA.
Let's see how it plays out. TP coming in. Danny's firing off the super mega death rocket. It's going to be stolen from the LEC MVP as they make their entry. JoJo's got the lockdown on Abbedagge, but he will be able to get away. Ssumday's coming in from behind, but EG can only go forward. Knock, knock, FBI. It's Danny. Double kill to start off the fight, and he ain't done yet. Inspired chases huhi as Abbedagge tries to get away. Ssumday might be a raid boss, but EG's ready to go mythic. Abbedagge tries to run. Inspired just flexes on him, and EG just won the game.
You can run, you can hide, but Danny is coming for you. EG marching down mid. They're going to take game number 1.
Realm Warp to save time, get right up to the turrets, and game 1 is already but to memory.
Evil geniuses are not here to mess around.
What a game from EG here, and now 100 Thieves, I think, have got to be thinking about mixing things up. I feel like one of their biggest strengths is Closer's aggression, and putting him on the Trundle felt like it did hamstring what he could get done in that early game. When I think back to their title last year, when I think back to the earlier games that they've had in this playoff run, it's often Closer having incredible success throughout the early game, making trips up there constantly towards that top lane. And I think you give up a lot by going for the Trundle. Even if it's good for your comp, it's maybe not good for Closer.
Also, this is as much counter in draft as we've seen put into countering Ornn.
Yep.
A Trundle ultimate and an Aatrox lane matchup counter. And yet still, it really did not even leave a mark. Impact did not care. He was still such a high-value player for this team. Every Ornn ultimate, getting summoner spells out of the AD carry, or outright killing the AD carry, getting them objectives. So that attempt at the counter in draft did not work out in execution, and it has to be changed as well.
It's the Impact X Factor. The dude doesn't need to be the hero. He doesn't have to have top billing. He can play Grandpa Ornn coming down to see his kids in bottom lane with a not unleashed teleport. It doesn't matter. This guy always steps up in the biggest moment.
And I love that he's even building for that, right? Like, his third item is Knight's Vow. It's just about Danny. He knows the game is not about him. He does not have to win in the 1v1. He just has to protect towers, clear out some waves, and move to his team, create space for his carry. The whole team from EG had such a cohesive plan. Even though Danny dies early, it just doesn't matter because they put all of their effort from all 5 members into funneling gold into him, putting him ahead, because they know in team fights, he is just on another level.
My friend, everyone in the LCS, everyone in this stadium knows that the game is about Danny. Both teams, they're all focused on him, and yet EG are the ones that dive FBI, take him out. And that was a quick one. This is the most decisive game that we've seen from this team. That's the other thing about EG. The progression has continued throughout playoffs. 3-0 Cloud9, 3-0 Team Liquid, 1-0 100 Thieves.
Well, and you talk about the confidence. They said on stage, they got interviewed after the game. They said, well, our hardest series was yesterday.
They said, I'll give them 3-1 to be humble.
Well, my friends, Lord Danny and the Knights of the Evil Geniuses take game 1, and to break it all down, we're throwing over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Yeah, they said they'd give him one yesterday. They may have changed their minds coming into today. It looks like the freight train that is Evil Geniuses shows no signs of slowing down.
I was a little bit worried early because I was like, man, they are very hyphy today. Like coming in, that bot 2v2, some of the early skirmishes, I was like, I don't know about this, guys. Like, you might not win this fight. Just wait. You have the scaling draft. That being said, this is the clean. I do agree with Kobe. This is the cleanest from beginning to end that we've seen EG.
That said, and we will get into all the action as it broke down very early on in this game, chat. It's always interesting for me, game 1, best of 5. What does everyone come in with? What's their best look?
Exactly, and one thing that I really liked about this EG draft is it is similar to where they outdrafted TL in game 2 of yesterday. So against TF in the mid lane, they like having Tahm, Kench, and Ornn. It legitimately just makes it so TF doesn't have a good side lane to play to. TF wants volatile side lanes, and those 2 lanes lack volatility, then EG is just going to have better team fighting. So even though they were way too hyphy in the early game, once they calmed down, you saw it was just, let's have Danny run around the map, get as many items as he can, because if we do this, they can't lose in their head.
Yeah, and it's just such a weird draft because understanding they know that
100 Thieves.
100 Thieves.
Yes.
Because they understand they're going to go into unvolatile lanes in Ornn and in Tahm Kench. And they're not going to be able to push that for dives unless if something ridiculous happens. But also, okay, you want to play through size lane, right? You want to be able to play through the Aatrox. Issue is, Aatrox eventually is going to have to team fight. He's not going to be able to like chip at turret in front of the Ornn. And how Evil Geniuses played just yesterday and will continue to play is that if they see that pressure happening, they'll just send members to force a fight 100 Thieves have to understand this.
Now, we say all that, and all of that almost didn't matter because of the way that both teams walked into this game. We had those early kills going over to 100 Thieves, in particular that 2v2 in the bottom.
Yeah, like let's pull up the highlight reel because this was maybe a fear from yesterday. Like, how are Danny and JoJo feeling confidence-wise, and is that going to be too much? At the start of the game, I actually think it was. FBI and huhi knew the matchup better, landed the skill shots, got the early kills, but after that, it almost didn't matter because of how well EG funneled gold into Danny.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that this happened here, of course, is a continuation of that process. I know the stat mentions goal difference at 8. It's actually the 6-minute mark that changes this game.
Yeah, the dragon fight.
Exactly. The fact that the dragon fight, the TP comes through, so Ornn is going to be a part of this. So even after the dragon was picked up, there is no escape from 100 Thieves.
And I think this is a little bit of a shift, right, that we've seen from EG, where they're like, okay, we need to contest this. We are bringing impact down. We're not trading objectives for, you know, side lane pressure or funneling gold in that way. And then they just funnel in gold to Danny during team fights.
I think it surprised 100 Thieves almost the late contest that EG took.
Yes.
Because EG, these last several series, have been giving up objectives to take turret gold. So I almost feel like 100 Thieves was a little bit lackadaisical with how they were taking them, and it gave EG favorable fight setups. Once they got enough kills onto Danny, it really was over. He also played the fights very well.
And it's something that 100 Thieves was doing really well coming up until this series, is that they were just objective focused. They were the team that would always be able to pick up Drakes. And right now, they have to shift focus and understand that the fight is what matters afterwards.
Hey, Jet.
Yeah.
Who picked up first Drake?
It was 100 Thieves.
Yeah.
But it was like a smite fight. It was a very poor Drake. But honestly, it was EG. Danny, when we heard the player introductions, was the most popular player here.
Absolutely.
Based off of what he did yesterday. Which you say that 3 weeks ago, that's never going to be your prediction. He must have felt like Uzi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the stage when he's getting cheered, but also the way they played this game. Every turret was for him. Every kill, everyone was just like walking away with their hands up when like, Daddy, Sir Daddy, please take this goal. Because not only, they just have so much confidence that he will carry the game, and he is playing like he will carry the game. This is also the most forward I've even seen him play with the gold lead. Like, he is playing closer to the edge than I've ever seen him do as well. So I'm very excited for what we're seeing from him.
There's that level of trust and protection. Even just like Kench compositions. I know you're already looking at Vulcan. The amount of times he's talked about hating Tahm Kench.
Yeah.
But it's actually working so well.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a love-hate relationship. And Danny certainly loves that. Even if he doesn't have flash, he can walk up far more knowing that he has Vulcan in his back pocket, who played exceptionally well yesterday as well.
It's always worth it to unbench the Kench if it gets you an LCS trophy. Now, these playoffs, they've given us some of the most exciting moments we've seen in our 10-year history of the LCS. So make sure that you don't have to miss a single play of the finals and order your snacks from Grubhub. Use code BOUNTY for $10 off your convenience order of $10 or more until 6 p.m. Eastern. But it was this guy on your screen here, inspired in the final dragon fight of the game, who would deliver the win for Evil Geniuses with a smite steal and the chase to follow.
I think the smite steal was the icing on the cake, because this game was over as soon as 100 Thieves started this dragon. The amount of power that EG had and their ability to close gaps. Ornn ultimate and Jarvan ultimate, so they can just annihilate FBI when they want to, and also the protection they had onto Danny to make it so hard to ever close the ranks. Vulcan does an amazing job marking at the top of the fight, but really, watching Inspired make that engage, it's too easy for them at this point. No one even gets like chipped down.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Even the conditioning that you saw, pushing the carries to the side of the wall, the Ornn ulti that follows to force the flash and just leave FBI hanging. It was a snowball of a game, and if you're 100 Thieves, you can take lessons from it, but you just have to push forward to the next.
Let's talk about the lessons. We're going into game 2. 100 Thieves want to put one on the board. They want to keep this a tit-for-tat kind of series, right? You don't want to go down and be forced to put up a reverse sweep. They get side select like they did in game number 1. They're going to stick to red side. So, Jat, what are you thinking here? What's the answer? What did we learn from that game 1 about where to go and draft?
100 Thieves can't have FBI thousands of gold down against the enemy AD carry. They have to play more around bottom side. And also, they need to make sure it's not as big of a mismatch in team fighting.
Okay.
So either that means they blind pick a very strong dual lane, or they're red side. They can counter pick support. That's something that huhi has done for years to find much success. Really prioritize team fighting and bot lane and hit EG where EG just hit them.
Yeah, and I do not want to see, because this was the case in the Fnatic series in the LEC, so the European audience at homes are probably, they're getting flashbacks to Twisted Fate versus Unvolatile Lanes. Don't bottleneck yourself in compositions where if it does not work, and it shouldn't work, you just get outscaled.
Is it worth banning Jinx? Because they're on red side. You know that EG will first pick it. You know they will. They've done it every single time it's been up for them on blue side. Should you actually consider banning this late game insurance policy out? He's the best performing member in finals weekend.
That's a tough question. So I don't mind the Jinx Aphelios trade. It's more what else is going around it, right?
Yes.
So looking at this draft, especially like, you see the Renata, you see the TF pick, into lanes that they weren't going to be able to play him around. And you're like, okay, you can make those changes first and then see, because I do think FBI is an incredible Aphelios player.
Well, it's going to be a tough puzzle to crack for 100 Thieves as they look to put one on the board. We'll see if our defending champions can answer back in game 2. But as we step away, it's clear that the geniuses have a lot of faith in their future that they've built. Take a look.
We took a risk. We did what many didn't think was possible.
EG got mopped up in game number 1.
And look where we are. It's about taking risks and understanding how those will pay off. We've placed trust in players where others wouldn't even take a chance. North America has incredible talent. Just look at our team. We're ready for that top spot. We're ready to win our first LCS championship.
They give us love. They give us joy. They give us lessons in sharing. So give them some love back. And what says love better than something you can chew on? Use your MasterCard to make secure purchases from anywhere. So your gift will end up in the right hands or mouth. Because being there for each other is priceless.
What's going on?
Jake from State Farm, the perp just confessed. I think. I don't know.
What?
Oh, can't afford streaming anymore, so here we are.
Oh, don't give up what you love. State Farm has options to personalize your policy so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Oh, that's great. The subtitles would be nice.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.
This is a league built on speed and precision, where everything needs to perform at a pro level, especially your hardware.
They blocked the road. They want to complete the final piece of the puzzle. They don't have enough damage for it, but who cares? It's all a formality, baby. The winner of LCS Lock-In.
Even if you're hard stuck plat, like me, forever. Roccat, the official mouse and keyboard of the LCS.